And now on Who's Views, it's time to join JT, Paul and Third Doctor Ian for the latest headlines.
Hello, everybody. It's Who's Views and welcome to the weekend and your big show on Friday, the 16th of May, 2025. How are you doing? Oh, my goodness. We have a really big show for you to kick off your weekend coming up for you because, yes, have you heard? Ncuti Gatwa has done a runner. Not necessarily from Doctor Who, but from the Eurovision. Lots of discussion today as to why. I think we can maybe guess a couple of reasons, but we're going to be talking about them with you in the chat during this very big show. We're also going to be looking at well-known homophobe Juno Dawson's episode, which screens on the BBC tomorrow. Yes, the Interstellar Song Contest has finally arrived. Week 6. Is that all? Week 6, everybody. So that's on the way. We've got some breaking news for you. That's just been released in the last 10 minutes. We're going to be looking at this latest report. That's coming up for you all in a minute as well. And yeah, Bedouin is going to be here with his update on the ratings just for you, because we know just how much you like it. Joining me tonight, let's welcome back Third Doctor Ian, and we've got Paul as well. Oh, we've got a big show for them this evening, I tell you guys.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Sounds packed.
Yes.
It's jam-packed, as we used to say. That reminds me of a song from the 80s, I think. Yeah. Listen, before we go anywhere, I'd like to say a huge thank you to everybody that has got in touch as ever this week. It really does mean the world when we get them. I am going to say to you again, it does take me a while to get back to you, but I do get there eventually. But if you want to get in touch with us, whosviews1@gmail.com, whosviews1@gmail.com. Thank you very much to everybody that does that, and especially to this week, to Bill Lowry, to Baron French, to Graham Lumley Jones, to Mark Holtz, to Jane Evans, to Alan Evesham, to Rory Stanage, to Colin Smith, to John Pope 515, to Gilliam, to Judge Joseph Dredd, to Domgo, to Len Looks Back, to MW56101, I Love to Be, to Millie Wiggs, to Paul Cornwall, to the Happy Werewolf, to Bubbles 2011-ish, to Matt Enspiel, and can I just say a huge happy birthday to Mrs. Lisa Pertwee as well. Happy birthday to you, lovely. It's her birthday today, everyone.
Happy birthday, darling.
Yes.
Yes, indeed. Happy birthday. Oh, after all that, I need a quick sip of cup of tea, I tell you. Yes, so good to see you all. Thanks for joining us in the chat. I'm going to start with some breaking news that Emilio from our Whotastic panel has literally just sent me in the last 10 minutes. So, lots of panicking, guys, with graphics and stuff.
Oh no, season 3's coming. Oh no.
No, God, no, please.
Oh no. No.
In the last 15 minutes, the Daily Mirror has broken this story. Doctor Who's next 2 series was already written despite Disney funding cuts. Despite a big pause until 2027 to allow for the next run to be filmed, Doctor Who will not end with the current series, as been rumoured. Now, this is something we've actually been saying for quite some time on the channel, because we'd heard that BBC Studios were absolutely determined to ensure that Doctor Who continued beyond this year. Why? Well, because if it's done right, it's a moneymaker for them. However, I use the term if it's done right. And this article has a few concerns. Let's look at it together, shall we? And let's see if we can spot what those concerns are. Here we go. Ncuti Gatwa may be leaving and the Disney funding could be withdrawn, but Doctor Who will continue on BBC One, according to insiders. Rumours have been swirling that the plug will be pulled altogether if Disney decides to end its co-production deal amid claims of falling ratings and a backlash against so-called woke storylines. It is also claimed that if Disney departs, it might not have a big an impact as feared by some fans. This is because a quote-unquote huge chunk of the extra budget, up to £10 million per episode, is spent on the technical task of improving the picture quality to a level which wouldn't be necessary if it reverted back to being a BBC standalone series. The BBC broadcasts its high-definition shows in 2K picture quality, but Disney needs a 4K image for its streaming service, and the additional effects work costs a significant amount. But sources on the sci-fi series, which generates around £100 million for BBC Studios through global licensing deals and merchandising, claim that showrunner RTD has already planned the next 2 seasons, having almost completed scripts for Series 16 and with stories for the 17th series worked out. BBC Studios has been producing the show with Disney since 2023. It has long been known that a lengthy hiatus will come after the current series finishes later this month. The Mirror reported last October that the on-screen gap could last for 2 years, with no new Doctor Who series likely until 2027. One insider said, whether or not Disney stays, the expectation is that the show will continue. Yes, there will be a gap while the scripts are finalized, the episodes are filmed, and the editing process takes place. But we'll be back. The wait won't be forever, just a big pause.
I love that they keep moving the goalposts every time they write an article. You know, when did they change their mind on that? There'd always be a gap. When did they say that? That's not made up, isn't it?
Well,
there's not 2 years gap required in order to script a series that has allegedly already scripted and film it. They could do that in 6 or 9 months. And I think it's interesting that it starts with, amid claims of falling ratings, they're 1.5 million. There used to be 12 million. That is falling ratings. It's not a claim, it's a fact. But they still, it shows how rooted in an absolute lack of reality they are, to be honest.
Absolutely.
I have to say that the picture definition is the least of the worries, I have to say.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, obviously, the main concern for all of us here is the involvement of RTD. And as Dom goes, they surely can't carry on with RTD FFS. No. And also, I'm literally, this is 15 minutes old, everybody. Okay. And thanks again to Emilio for sending this in. As I'm reading this and putting this together very quickly, this point from the GOAT came up. So much for RTD bragging about no gap years when he returned. Yeah. He promised that, didn't he, everybody? Yeah. He said there wouldn't be any gap years. Hello? There has to be for you to get your stupid arse in gear and get the show back to normal. And it does worry me.
We don't want him. We don't need him. It will just. They're just prolonging another session of crashing and burning if they keep him at the helm. And a turd is a turd and looks like a turd, whether it's 2K, 4K, or 16-bit black and white. It's all
down to the quality of the scripts, isn't it? And if it comes back in 2 or 3 years, exactly as it has been now, no one's going to watch it. Mr. Matt, welcome to Who's Views. It's good to see you. How many Dalek Invasion of Earth could you have made with that amount of money? Yes, it is. And John Mason also pointed out RTD said no gaps. Duncan the Funky Evans, to be honest, Disney and the BBC should get Bad Wolf out of the production. I would like to see Bad Wolf and Disney both going away, to be quite honest. Disney's only there for the distribution. And as this mirror suggests now, to upgrade the picture. So it's suitable.
But if Russell stays, then surely Bad Wolf will stay as well, won't they? Probably. You think?
Probably. I don't know. It depends on the deal, because if the deal ends, the production deal with Bad Wolf ends, he'd have to renegotiate, and surely falling ratings. But we have heard about this. He has said this, and we've reported it on headlines before, that he has planned the next 2 seasons. We've said 3 or 4 times on different things. It's in his head.
Anyone can plan. Can't they? Yes.
Well, maybe the mirror's looking in. So hello to the mirror. Hello to you guys. Because this does seem very odd, but I don't know. The mirror, Legion of James, hello to you. Unless they can undo everything they've done since Jodie Whittaker, then I'm afraid I can't see myself going back, no matter how good it might be. Any continuation without a retcon will be forever badly tainted, and that's the problem. That's the problem, isn't it? You just can't carry on with RTD and the cronies around him.
And by all accounts, there's more tainting to come as we finish this season.
Well,
don't get me started.
Yeah, but all that writing that he's been doing for a year or so on series 3 and 4 and all that rubbish, it's going to be him coming from the perspective that everything he's done for series 1 and 2 has been fantastic and would be well received, because he thinks everything's brilliant that he does, and he's just not going to change. I mean, why would they commit more resources, wait 2 years, and then do it all again, knowing the world is going to have turned? I've had 2 more years to have turned away from this crazy mind virus that we've had for the last few years. What makes them think that it's going to be any more successful if they stick with what they've got? It'd be suicide.
They have to see. They have to see the mistakes. You're right.
Business we're dealing with.
Yeah.
Sorry, sorry, we got time. Go on, Paul. Go on.
Sorry, they have to see these mistakes that this program's made in order to rectify them. As you're saying, if they haven't, then they're doomed. They're completely doomed.
Yeah.
They've made worse mistakes this time round than they made in the Chibnall era, but they want to continue that level of ineptitude. I'm not quite sure how they've not learned anything from that at all.
Squawk is saying to us, perhaps the 2-year gap is to let the Bad Wolf contract run its course. Not if RTD is still there. It's not just Bad Wolf that's the problem. It's RTD that's the problem as well. He has to go, and they have to go. It has to be a brand new team. And as I was saying there, this is the alleged entertainment industry we are dealing with, who are actually looking at taking the Supreme Court to some sort of ruling. I mean, this is ridiculous. You know, it's just not. I'm hoping this is just column filler, but I thought this was very interesting to start the show off tonight with. Farsight is with us saying we need to write to the Beeb, tell them we don't want Davis and Bad Wolf. They don't care, honestly. Farsight, I have been complaining to the BBC ever since RTD's rants earlier last year. They don't want to know. You get a standard email back. I've been complaining recently about this homophobic piece of crap they've got on BBC Three called I Kissed a Boy. They don't care. They sent a standard response. They don't care. I'm going to Ofcom with that now. You know, it's just nonsense. They don't care. And because this is now a BBC Studios production, it's not even the BBC. So they'll come back and say it's nothing to do with us. It's done by an independent production company. BBC Studios is not paid for by the BBC television license, therefore the public. Therefore they don't have to answer to the public or fans. They can do what they like. So unfortunately, that's not going to work.
What is interesting in the article as well, and I know we're laughing at it, but it is laughable, the fact that it makes money for them. Although Disney paid 100 million for Doctor Who, okay, that is making money. But if the product is not selling or not very well received, then it's having a detrimental effect on their coffers, surely, like the merchandise that we've talked about already. So it's a bit of a contradiction, isn't it, really?
It really is. Especially, I mean, they will know. They will have detailed reports on what is selling and what's bringing the BBC in money, and that will break down. So they will know what Doctor Who merchandise is selling and what Doctor Who merchandise isn't. And they will see that 90% probably, if not more, of the sales in Doctor Who stuff is classic series still. The figures, the DVDs and everything else. They will see that it's that, or that it might be the original Tennant, Eccleston, Matt Smith and some Capaldi, because let's face it, The Rock did set in there and it wasn't Capaldi's fault. But it's that's going to be selling. It's not going to be any of this codswallop that we're being served up for the last 6-7 years. And they're going to see that. They're going to know that. And if the money's important to them, why would they produce more? They're not going to sell it. Doesn't make sense.
Lots of you in the chat with us this evening. Thank you very much, Mark Greaves. Thank you for your super chat. Let's be honest, his plans for 2 more series will take 2 years because he has to watch all the classic Who and rip off those far superior stories. Well, you know, he claims he knows them in his head, doesn't he? And Mr. Matt getting back to us saying, thank you for the welcome, guys. I'm having a bad day. This cheers me up. Well, I'm glad about that. Stay with us because we'll soon sort that out for you and keep you going on a bad day. Like Terrified Monk says, my good day just turned into a bad day. You know, Bill Lowry saying to us 10 million per episode for upgraded image. Wouldn't that mean 10 episodes with improved image, so 16 with lower quality? Interesting point. No Thrussell's with us. Hello there. Paul Rose is saying any creatives or management of the current show have to go and start over. Domgo is saying RTD needs to go. End of. RTD scripts are nothing, says the Forbidden Man. You see, he's not popular if anybody's looking in. Honestly, he really has destroyed the show. Our John is saying if RTD stays, he will destroy our beloved program. He already has, my friend.
Yes,
he already has. It's in the toilet. And Jason's with us. Jason Parker, hello to you. If he has written the scripts, then there is no point continuing the show. He is the problem, along with Chibnall and Moffat. All of them ruin the show. All of them have to go. At this point, I'd say yes. And also we just need fresh blood and we need professionals running this show. You know, we have to have professionals in. So thank you everybody for that.
The interesting thing about this is if they do go back to doing it themselves without Disney's input financially, if you look at the last Jodie things, or even Capaldi, the effects in that are equally as good, if not better, than the Disney ones, to be honest. I can't see a huge difference in quality for the money they put behind these episodes. You know what I mean? So
I don't
difference
see
will it
any
make?
difference.
You know? So, yeah.
I don't see any difference at all, Paul. I completely agree with you. I really don't.
No. We've got Paul Rose saying to us, don't panic. It's all speculation right now. They don't like it up, and do they? It is panic, but it's interesting, isn't it? You know, that they've got to this stage where the Mirror is printing this, which is actually, I personally believe it is a sort of amalgamation of everything we've been saying for a little while, because we do know, as I said, BBC Studios want this thing to stay on the air. So let's see what's going to happen. Doesn't anyone high at the BBC get it, or are they all deaf and blind, says Marine Boy 1966. Having RTD still around, polluting things will never work out. We've still got this Sea Devil thing coming up.
Yeah.
So if that fails, surely that's another big message for them to ignore.
I wonder if it'll have the budget of previous New Who prior to Disney, the same kind of budget, you think?
Well, it was part of the Disney episode count, wasn't it? So it'd have Disney money, wouldn't it?
No, I meant if they did a third season. I meant really.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I don't know. I can't see it being too big a budget, but it might be a healthy budget. They only need a healthy budget. They don't need anything.
Yeah.
Pete Merritt, welcome to Who's Views. It's good to see you. Hello. RTD and co think they own the show. Sack them all and get a non-fan in with show knowledge. Yeah. It's very difficult to find somebody that isn't part of this whole nonsense that's going on in show business now, but they are there. And Digby, thank you so much for your super chat. Sadly, Doctor Who was the first of the big cultural icons to be captured by the woke mind virus, and sadly it's probably going to be the last to be taken back. It's sad, isn't it, really? Thank you for that, Digby. Jack's with us, Jack Thursby. I don't think there's a way back after 8 years of degrading the character. Any reference to 13th, 14th or 15th or the Fugitive Doctor in future reboots will only serve to turn fans off all over again. It certainly will. Yeah. I totally agree with that. Totally agree with that.
Yeah.
And Anthony Parkinson pointing out, quite rightly, that the Mirror are the same paper who just a few months ago said Gatwa was gone and the show was facing cancellation. They're fabricating stories. Well, let's certainly hope so, everybody, shall we? Let's hope so, and let's hope that we get something which is a bit more confirmed from the sources that they should be coming up very shortly. We've got a dog joining us now as well.
Yeah, that's one of mine. Sorry.
Everyone's a critic, Ian. That's the thing. So,
let's have a look and see what else we've got here. But thank you all for joining us, everybody. Garbage is in the chat. Nice to see you. Thank you very much. And Julianne, hello, Julianne. Maybe this rumor is just to boost the upcoming finale. No one is interested in watching show. That's a dead end. I can't see that. I can't see that working though, Julianne. Can you?
It's too late. Yeah.
If they say something like, "Oh, the finale's coming up. Let's get publicity." Oh, and by the way, the show won't be back after that finale for another 3 years.
Yeah.
This is just a continuation, isn't it, of him a couple of weeks ago in his interview, where he was talking or hinting at gaps and things like that. So it wouldn't surprise me if this is based on something that they've fed, that they've slipped out, because he did say that, didn't he, a couple of weeks ago? Hinting
they're
at
moving
gaps.
the goalpost to save Facey, and that's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah, completely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
But there are lots of rumors around our favorite show at the moment, from alleged showrunners in America, from other shows coming to do it, to who's going to be playing the Doctor. It's all been there over the last few days, but nothing is confirmed. It is, of course, all rumor. Kev Gresham saying to us that it's not just Doctor Who. The BBC have got to get back to having professionals making shows for the masses rather than the niche, because let's face it, the niche don't watch television. And the only reason they watch television, Kev, is to market, to see how DEI it is, and they go around with their little clipboards and say what boxes have been ticked, etc., etc. The Lady Knightsbridge has just joined in the chat. Nice to see you, Lady Knightsbridge. How are you? And so is Sam. Good to see you guys. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us. Wow. So there's some news that's just come from the Daily Mirror in the last 20 minutes now, I'd imagine. So there we go. We'll keep an eye on that here on Who's Views, of course. Thank you for joining us. If you have subscribed to the channel, please make sure you are still subscribed. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe to the channel and come and join us with all our lovely shows that are out there for you. If you are new to us here on Headlines, you won't know that we do a regular ratings analysis. but you're going to soon, because here it is now. Bedwyr is with us, and it's time for his update. Run VT! Here he is then. Hello to you.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Hi, Bedwyr. How you doing?
Oh, I'm very well.
Good,
Not
good.
too bad at all.
Shocked or
Good to see you,
horrified by
mate.
that latest news? Or don't care?
I mean, I'm ambivalent really because I've not been watching it. So, I mean, the discussion about 4K. I'm aware that they have been filming the show in 4K.
Mm.
I'm not entirely sure why, but I know that that's whether that's now the standard that's Disney Plus requires. So be it. But I would imagine they've already invested in the equipment to deliver 4K images. So yeah, I don't know whether it's going to cost any more. I don't know, but yeah,
I think it's
We'll
just
see.
pretentious nonsense. It's all show busy, pretentious nonsense. From what I can, it's just, who cares if it's in bloody 4K? Who cares?
Shit.
yeah.
It's still shit.
I don't think there's an option to watch it in 4K. So why are they filming it in 4K?
I've no idea. Oh, well, because it's Disney. Disney have paid for it. It said in that little thing the upgrade costs. But anyway,
Yeah, but can you what anyone in America or around the world that's got Disney Plus? Can you watch it in 4K?
they must be able to if they're upgrading it. They must have fabulous 4K tellies and stuff. Remember, their televisions aren't as like ours. They don't have to have a license. They can just go out tomorrow and buy 3. You know what I mean? Without
Mind you,
having to do the paperwork.
Just because you film something in 4K doesn't mean people want to watch it in 4K, does it? It just people might just want to watch it, or in this program's case, not watch it. And I don't think that picture quality matters as much. To be fair,
It's all rubbish, isn't it? It's all nonsense.
And maybe they're future-proofing, home media releases for when they start churning this stuff out in 4K.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Curse Paladin was on today, said Rick Storm. It was. I was watching it a little bit earlier. How are the figures for you? Well, we haven't got to those yet, but stay with us because when we get them, we will report them. We'll do a special sort of edition of the ratings analysis, won't we?
Yeah. Unfortunately, the ratings updates have been quite quiet this week. I'm missing a few numbers, which is disappointing, but unless my usual sources report them, then I can't share them with you guys. So
no. Well, we've got plenty here anyway. So let's start on. We've got this update here. So what we've got is the series 14 and series 15 episodes.
Yeah. So the two numbers that we do have were the overnight for the story in the engine of 1.59 million, and the +7 for Lucky Day, which was 2.802 million. So we'll talk a little bit about the two of those, starting, of course, with the story and the engine. So as you can see from this, it's a slight increase. They managed to find an extra 80,000 viewers, so increase of about 5.3%. So maybe the show is saved after all.
Oh, I think
Let's commission that third series.
Yeah, just on that number there. PTA is with us. Thank you so much for your super chat, Paul Thomas Ashworth. Have the Daleks exterminated the ratings? Have the Daleks exterminated the people that are supposed to be watching it? That's the other question, isn't it, PTA? But thank you for that. Mm-hmm.
I mean, what's particularly interesting from this diagram that you can see is that so far we've had 5 episodes of this series, and you can see that Lux was 1.58 million, Lucky Day was 1.51 million, and the story in the engine at 1.59 million. So that's a good level of consistency. So maybe we're now trying to work out and discovering that the core audience is just over 1.5 million people that are watching it consistently overnight on transmission.
Oh,
and does that mean, Bedwyr, that the consolidated figures are basically just people watching it again? Then, just about
like you, Paul. Really?
Yes, me. Yeah,
potentially.
I've watched the last one twice. Yes.
Yes. If you are going to watch it twice, then again, this is the murky waters of how they count this stuff up. It's not crystal clear how they managed to get to these numbers. Whether someone who watches it on BBC One and watches it again on iPlayer counts as 2 views, how much of the iPlayer stream they have to watch, all this sort of stuff is not. But as long as the methodology is consistent across all television, then we can, make some deductions from it. It's just nobody really knows how they get these numbers.
I've been thinking as we've been doing these racing, how long is it going to be before they change them again? It's about time that they did, because they tend to do it every so often. And I'm sure it's going to be coming along soon, because the viewing figures are so far down. A lot of programs cannot justify the money that they're getting invested to make them. So, at some point, I'm expecting them to say, oh, by the way, we're changing the system to do this and this and this. Domgo is saying, how can they look at these figures and justify keeping any of this garbage? That's what I'm saying there. And hello to Doctor Who fan man. Hello. I cannot wait for the cancellation. This time, I won't be walking the streets with the Doctor Who Appreciation Society Liverpool and knocking on front doors for signatures like we did in the 1980s to keep it on air. Them days are gone. Well, Doctor Who fan man, lovely to see you. I was around in that particular local group in the 80s into the 90s. Give us an email, whosviews1@gmail.com. Be nice to hear from you. whosviews1@gmail.com. But thanks for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe. Lovely to hear from you. Oh, I might know him. Mind you, I don't remember people I met last week, but it's nice. It's nice to see you. Lots of you in the chat with us tonight. Keep it going. Keep it going. Thank you very much. We've got the next one from you now, Bedouin, and this is this one, isn't it? So this is your overnights.
Yes. So for additional context, the Story in the Engine was the 3rd least watched program in Doctor Who's history, 1.59, which is admittedly better than Lucky Day and Lux. But again, you can see that fairly consistent bunching of those 3 episodes in this 5-episode series. So if you discount the Robot Revolution, which is a series premiere, The Well did not come after a game of football. Again, matching the similar spike we had with was it 73 yards last year. So I think maybe we're starting to see what Doctor Who's core audience actually is. And I think it's around 1.56 million.
I never thought I'd be pleased to see Legend of the Sea Devils nearly at number 11. I have to say.
Yeah, it's dropping out of the top 10.
Well, we have to face it.
Yeah,
we have to face it. The whole of the top 10 here is going to be Ncuti Gatwa RTD 2.
Yeah.
Right. So how many more?
How's that for legacy, Russell? Yeah,
exactly. 3 more episodes of this particular era, the Gatwa era, we're led to believe, left. It's not going to get any better, is it?
No.
If they're not looking at these figures, or if they are looking at these figures and ignoring them, it just shows their complete and utter ignorance, doesn't it? And just
Completely.
Anyway. Oh, they drive me mad, everybody. They really, really do. As you probably know, they drive me mad. Well, we got this. Duncan the Funky Evans is saying, Legend of the Sea Devils is clearly treading water.
Yeah, he's here all week. Yeah.
Oh, John. So the niche audience RTD is targeting will not be watching television tomorrow evening now that Israel has qualified for the final of Eurovision. Now, stay with us. We're going to come to that, of course, because Ncuti Gatwa has spectacarily minced off. So stay with us. We're going to be looking at that. Yes. Stay with us there. Carwin. Hello, Carwin. A flagship show from the BBC can't pull in 4 million viewers.
The flags at half mast, definitely, I would say, yeah.
Sad days for the Doctor. I mean, we might joke about this, but we never wanted it. Any of us, did we? Really, we've always wanted it to do well. And PTA, thank you very much for your super chat. Spin-off rumors, singing and dancing Sea Devils. Strange that you say that because I've just said no. I'm kidding.
But careful what you wish for. That's all I'm saying. Yeah.
That's exactly it, isn't it? Be careful what you wish for. And Just Jordan's with us. Hello, Just Jordan. How are you? Let's bring your chat up here. We've got here tomorrow's episode is on after the FA Cup final, though, isn't it? I expect an increase now. Is it though?
Well,
we shall see. Depends if it goes to penalties, because if it does, That's an extra half an hour, and Doctor Who's going to get bumped. Simple as that.
Well, it's an extra half hour if they have if they have extra time, isn't it? And then the penalties would follow that, which the time that it normally takes them to set that up, choose the penalty takers, and then one takes the penalty and then the goalkeepers swap and the other players come in. The penalty shootout can take about 20 odd minutes as well. Easy.
Yeah.
So you're looking at effectively almost another hour. What a damn shame.
And the two teams that are playing this footy ball thing tomorrow, are they decent, or will they all turn into drama queens and start lying on the floor going, oh, my ankle, or oh, my leg? Well, that
There might be a lot of injury time.
There'll be a lot of that, a lot of kissing as well, I'd imagine, as well. That happens quite a lot.
Yeah.
Oh.
Neither of the team are Leeds United, so yes, there'll be a lot of rolling around, a lot of crying, and they're all crap. But they're both Premier League. They're both Premier League. One's Manchester City, and one's Crystal Palace. So they should be able to put up a good fight, but it'd be extra time would be brilliant. It really would.
The BBC will not change course. The BBC will not change course with Doctor Who. They truly believe they are right, and the BBC will fall due to their ignorance, says Noodle Arms. Jack is with us. Hello, Jack. Whoever decided to make the spin-off about the Sea Devils needs to go home and rethink their lives. Well, we all know who that is, Jack, don't we? It's the big man himself. And Paul Schlaft is saying to us, who would ever have thought that 1.5 is now Doctor Who's audience, down from 10, 9, 8, 7 million. Sad times. They certainly are. And let's say hello to Keith Andrew 2020s, who says, hi, you do understand the world has moved on and people are not watching live TV anymore. I've not watched a Doctor Who episode live since the Peter Capaldi era. Always got it on catch up. Keith, I am sick and tired of this excuse. Sick and tired of it. Listen, Keith, if you go back and look at Breadweir's ratings analysis that we have been doing for a year, we have also pointing out shows that have had huge ratings on the BBC ITV and sometimes even Channel 4, but not often. Because if you produce a show that people want to see, they will sit down there and then and watch it on that night. Now, what I'm arguing is that if people aren't watching live television anymore, why? Then I look at the schedules and I see what a load of old crap it is. Reality this, celebrity this. What a load of old nonsense. Who wants to see celebrity hanging out your washing? It's just absolute nonsense. Whose knickers are these? It's ridiculous.
I would copyright that idea before anyone steals it. We do that.
Yeah, copyright whose views.
Yeah.
But that's the problem, Keith. This is a bigger problem. And I'm seeing so many people from Doctor Who fanbase churning out this utter nonsense, this propaganda from the Doctor Who production office and the BBC itself. Oh, people don't watch the way they do. The reason they don't watch is because you're producing utter nonsense that nobody wants to watch. It's as simple as that. So let's have a look at things like Mr. Bates versus the Post Office, or Wallace and Gromit, or Gavin and Stacey. Huge ratings. Other things, Unforgotten. Unforgotten. All these other things that have done very well. The new Bergerac on You has done fabulously well. The Chelsea Detective, fabulously well. Because people are actually sitting down there and then.
No, tomorrow we'll prove that wrong, because the FA Cup final and the Eurovision Song Contest will both be watched live by a significant number of people. It's just that Doctor Who is not one of those programs anymore.
Exactly. Keith's also saying, guess what? I have a life and I'm not sitting here on a Saturday night watching television. Good for you. But a lot of people do. A lot of people do sit in and watch television. Just because you're not, and you've got what I assume is a very comfortable life with people around you, doesn't mean everybody else is in the same boat as you. And that's the BBC's remit, to entertain for everybody.
But Doctor Who finishes 8 o'clock. It's not like it's like 10 o'clock at night. You can still go and have fun after that, can't you? I mean, why can't you?
Maybe there's a protest march on or something. Who knows?
Yeah.
I used to enjoy it. I remember watching Smith and Jones. New series premiere, and then going for a night out afterwards. It was great.
Yeah. Well, that's how we did it, wasn't it? Yeah. That's what happened. You would because it was on at the start of the night, and you were getting ready, or you would, whatever it would be on. But no, I'm sticking to my opinion there on that one. Stephen Darren Holt. It is so sad to see what Doctor Who has become. It really is, because. I mean, we've been reviewing it every week, and I am so glad that I am not watching this nonsense tomorrow from this homophobe, because I just needed the break. episode 6, and I needed a break because it's worn me out. Honestly, watching the previous 5 Bedweer, it has worn me out. And Gary Hewitt is saying, is it not on BBC iPlayer tomorrow morning? Yes, it is.
It is.
It's on from 8 a.m. as usual.
Yep.
There you go.
It just might not be on BBC One.
It just might not be on BBC One if there's that. So that's when I think we'll see. Also, just to point out as well to the gentleman that was talking to us there, we've proven, and Bedweer has proven in these reports, that the overnight figure is important because it goes towards the consolidated figure. So they take the overnight figure of Doctor Who or any television program, and then they add how many hits they've had on their iPlayer in that week.
And we're going to prove it again tonight.
Oh,
good.
Bundy 4077 is saying to us, Natural World on BBC Two is more important than tomorrow's episode. That has an audience, though. Do you know what I mean? And it's also part of the BBC's job to do something like that. I tend to find that their natural history department is still fairly quality.
Yeah.
You know, and they're not bringing politics into it, apart from the odd climate thing.
Wasn't it David Attenborough's birthday recently? He's 99, isn't he?
Yeah, he's 99 now.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, truth is up there. Hi, mate. The measurement of broadcast television is to look at who was watching when it was broadcast. Streaming and catch-ups are different beasts. The BBC charges a license fee to make broadcast television. Yeah. And Farsight said, I have a life, and that involves not watching Doctor Who at all. It's true. That's a
lifestyle choice, isn't it? That's the thing.
Mrs. Lisa Pertwee, the birthday girl herself, is saying to us, here in Canada, because she's in Canada, any show that gets more than 1 million views is a hit, but we have half the population of the UK, so it looks like Doctor Who is likely getting under 10k here. Yeah, I could always, Mrs. Lisa Pertwee, quite like the idea of moving to Canada until you all went absolutely lunatic. But happy birthday to you. It's worse than here, I tell you. Worse than here. Two-Spirit, do me a favour. Right, where were we? Where were we? Oh, this is interesting, this one, because it's a bit ziggy-zaggy.
Yeah, so I thought we'd throw in some overnight averages for, our series 1 to 15, so the modern version of the show, so 2005 to 2025. You can see that 2 columns on the left-hand side of the screen. So you can see that the first 4 series of, RTD1, should we say, was fairly consistent. And then we had a bit of deterioration until, funnily enough, Jodie Whittaker came in, and Series 11 had a overnight average for the entire series of 6.2 million. But since then, it's been downhill, and we're now looking at an overnight average for the 5 episodes we've had so far of 1.72 million. And as you can see from the squiggly line on the right-hand side, that is the lowest. It's quite a sharp drop and a steep drop if you see the last two numbers from where we were at for Series 13, which I think was Flux. But this is all Doctor Who series ever. So the first data point is 1963-64, all the way through to 1989 and then 2005 onwards. So, Doctor Who's had its peaks and troughs, and we can see how it, did drop a little bit in the 80s, but it was still above sort of 4 million. And now look where we are now.
Well, you consider as well, and I know we've said this before, but you say that Bedweer, it still had an average of just above 4 million, but then you have to consider what it was up against and what Coronation Street was getting at the time as well. It was 17, 18 million, wasn't it? Doctor Who nowadays doesn't have that competition on the other side, and it's still doing worse. So it's all contextual, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all relative, yeah.
I mean, it depends on the storyline as well. I mean, the Corrie, for Ken and Deirdre, that was getting 20 million back in 1983.
Yeah.
Huge figures, huge figures. Wow, that was, as Domgo was saying, that was a jump. Turklov is saying to us, sandwich between the footy and Eurovision, Dawson might very well get the highest ratings of this series, and he will be crowing sigh. But 2+ million still naught to crow about. No, it's not. These figures for this version of Doctor Who have been awful. Jack is saying to us, weird how the budget is the complete opposite of this graph. It's bad business. they don't seem to care about that, do they? They don't really seem to care about where the investment is going with huge amounts of money. It's complacency.
I was going to ask, by the way, about the rise in season 11 for Jodie, the average of that's due to the curiosity, and the part 1 being, what, 12 million or something, wasn't it? So it's all to do with that boost. It's to do with that, isn't it? Rather than anything else, isn't it?
Yeah, it was kind of, it was largely skewed because The Woman Who Fell to Earth got a big number. So 8.2 million watched that on the overnight. But by the end of the series, the Battle of Ranscore Av Bollocks came in at 5.32. So it lost viewers throughout the series, but that big spike at the start really helped boost that average.
Interesting discussions going on in the chat, guys. With Millywig Z, just to fight Keith's corner here, he has a point. The BBC has failed to adapt and broadcast their channels live via a phone app. If they had done this, their live figures would likely have increased.
You can watch live on the iPlayer.
The iPlayer does, does give you the option to watch live. Whether that counts as an overnight view or is counted in a 7, who knows?
I think personally, the way I would look at that, I think that would count as an iPlayer view, even though it was live, because live surely should mean those that sit down and watch BBC One the channel, or BBC Two the channel, or ITV the channel.
That would be my expectation. Those who have got their Freeview box or their Sky, Virgin Media, whatever company you're with, whatever live channel you're tuned into, iPlayer will be a separate.
It has to be.
Because you have the option to rewind live TV or start a program from the beginning and all that sort of stuff. So it wouldn't be live. But then equally, if I've got my Sky Q, I can rewind what I'm watching live. But that would hopefully count as an overnight view. It's so complicated.
It is complicated, and Keith Andrew is back with us to illustrate just how complicated it is, because he's saying, I'm sorry, you're wrong. I don't have an aerial connected to my television. I watch everything through iPlayer, even live TV through the iPlayer. This is not taken into consideration with the ratings. It's considered with the iPlayer ratings. Now, listen, Keith, good for you. I don't use the iPlayer. There'll be millions of people like me that don't use the iPlayer. You're obviously of a generation that lives through the iPlayer. Well, I hope you're paying for it. I hope you've got your license fee.
Who's got an aerial now, Grandad, for goodness sake? I mean, who has? Honestly. Mine comes through my Virgin top box, so that's why
mine comes through PlusNet. But not that I'm watching anything at all. So it's not aerials at all, is it? But it's the same thing. If anything, the whole digital revolution, of which we are going through another here in the UK now, aren't we? With all these new companies cropping up and OpenReach out there doing all the upgrades across the country, which is going to take a while. That's going to be easier for them to change the Barb rating system when that's done, because they're going to get more of a clue about who's downloading what. As I've said, though, for ages, though, the BBC are missing a trick here. They need to get rid of the license fee and charge the iPlayer and run it as a subscription service.
Well, they refer to it as streaming, don't they? And it's not a streaming service unless they're charging for it.
Yeah, I can't stand that. That is lazy. That is a missell. It is not a streaming service. It's a catch-up. Because now they've got this element where you can watch live. That's why they've called it streaming.
Yeah.
Just so that they can say, oh, the BBC has a streaming service and we're like Paramount and we're like Fox and we're like God knows who else. No, you're not. You're nothing like it. You're still funded by a very grudging British public. Get rid of the TV license and get into competition with these people.
If they did that, they could do that. In competition, they could take advertising, get rid of the license, and they could have BBC worldwide effectively, like everything else is,
Yeah, I mean, it's a business model that I think they should do. It's about time.
And they would know exactly how popular their programs were, because it would be funded by the people that wanted to watch it.
Yeah. Yes.
Or not, as the case may be.
Or not, that's exactly it. So I don't know if you want to say anything about that, about Keith's point there, Badria.
I mean, that's perfectly true and fair, and a significant number of people don't watch linear television. That's just not the case with the bulk of TV viewership.
Can I make another point? Can I say, Kirsty, if you're watching, can you Google Ariel in case you know what it is?
Aerials, gosh. Do you remember that when we were kids? They were all on everybody's chimneys.
Like
weren't
that,
they?
trying to get the picture right. Yeah,
Yeah. Gosh, you don't see them
She'll
anymore.
come up with washing powder.
probably.
Oh,
Yeah,
something like that, yeah. Let's say hello and welcome to Who's Views to Comic Hinterlands. It's great to see you. Greetings from across the pond. Happy to catch a live show. I've been enjoying your talks for about a month. I hope the BBC gives you something positive to discuss at some point, but it seems pretty bleak. But they're keeping us busy, Comic Hinterlands. So it's lovely to see you. Thank you for joining the channel. Please subscribe if you haven't already. It is lovely to see you and great to see you live. Yeah, thanks for listening. What's this from Julianne? Series 15, less than half of Series 13 or Series 10. Wow, what a success, RTD.
Yeah.
The Lady Knightsbridge, the viewing figures are going down quicker than Leeds United in the Premier League next season.
Whee.
And
Miss Knightbridge, you have to be very careful there, young lady. Otherwise, you'll be getting it. No, I'm not going Hartnell there.
no. And Jack is saying season 11 only has high viewership because people tuned in to see the new changes, but people soon tuned out. Though it looks like it does. Yeah, it does. Yeah. Oh, and Keith is again with us because Keith, you're going to have to understand people are allowed a different opinion to yours, and you're not right about everything. You're living in the past, he's telling us. This is a conversation I'd expect from the analog generation. I am the bloody analog generation, quite frankly. That's basically what you are. Move on. Right, okay, so you're assuming, Keith, that everybody lives like you.
Yeah.
Grow up. Just grow up. You know.
And the young people invented everything, didn't they? That's what happened.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And they, I mean, your generation can't even bloody tell that a man has a penis, for crying out loud. Get a grip.
As we go through this discussion, we will be taking into account those who stream and use the iPlayer.
Yeah, so stay with us for that one. And Doctor Who fan man is saying, I could have been a proud invasion bedwetter from the late 60s and a tearjerker when Joe Grant left, and the later a third Doctor proud regen crybaby age 10. Them's were the days. They were, weren't they? They were happy days. We've had some happy days. Hilton Fitzsimmons, it's good to see you, saying huge amount of money for rubbish content.
Yeah.
We have had some good times in the reboot version. Don't get me wrong, we have, but not at the moment. Not at the moment. And Andy Gledhill, thank you so much for your super chat. Only around 300,000 are watching on iPlayer over the first 7 days, a tiny fraction compared to the TV only views. Listen, if people are only watching on an iPlayer, on a phone or an iPad or a laptop or wherever it's going to be, why do they still buy televisions?
Can I ask this other question? If this is so popular, why is Disney not renewing if that's not the case?
And why
they chase the money, don't they? They chase the money. If it was successful, they would want more of it, not stop.
Yeah. I mean, I just hope they get it right. I mean, I'm going to say again, for everybody that's tuning in, we've been hearing for some time now that BBC Studios are desperate to keep Doctor Who going. They believe in it for once in their lives. They believe in it and they want it to keep going. But maybe this sort of whole thing where they're saying it's going to have a little break for a couple of years is a way of actually breaking it gently to an obsessed minority fan base who are going to melt down over the fact they're not going to get any Doctor Who for 2 years. Honest to God. Legion of James, they can argue all they want about live television versus streaming. However, Bedweer has already proven that live TV views still make up the bulk of the ratings when consolidated, to hardly anyone watching anywhere. Very true. Very true. And STV, says Kev Gresham, STV iPlayer, they are calling this a streaming service due to some content only being on the iPlayer. And it's not really, again, is it? They need to get their acts together and get a decent business model here. And I include ITV in this with their X or whatever it's called. Because all I see is the ability to make money.
Was ITVX not like BritBox and you had to pay for a subscription for that one? Was it?
That's a separate thing.
Is it? All right. Okay.
Yeah.
The thing is,
include BBC shows and other stuff as well.
Right.
The thing is, though, if these overnights excluding iPlayer were 10 million, then the Keiths of the world would be probably running up and down the street naked with a rubber glove on their head shouting, "Hi, I'm a squid. This is so exciting." And then their argument had changed the other way, wouldn't it? Yeah. And then it would all be perfect. but it's not, which is why they're trotting out the same old tired argument, which is just rubbish.
If this thing was getting 9 to 10 million, I'd love that, because it showed that it was good. It was good, and our reviews wouldn't be bringing something like The Story in the Engine 0. You know, we've got here linked 122. Hello, welcome to Who's Views. It is nice to see you. We've got I get more enjoyment for the Wilderness books, plus audio adaptations, plus Bog Fanish Lost Story range. So I feel sorry for any people who don't know that the Doctor's been expanding into audio, comic, and books. Yeah, well, certainly we do on this channel, because the majority of us were there when it all started. And that's the brilliant thing about it. We were there when the Virgin novels came along. We were the ones that bought the Target books. So, and a lot of our friends in the chat here were there too. That's what makes us.
That's when books were analog as well.
Yeah, exactly. Gary Lee, the analog generation of experience of both worlds. Yeah, and I don't like this new version either. Honestly, the world's gone insane. And problem being with us, hello, mate. At least our generation has seen proper change. We could see with a few more coming up, couldn't we? Gary Hewitt saying our generation used to be seen as the elders whom you turned for wisdom. Can you imagine if we treated our grandparents and all their friends the way they treat people of 60s or 70s years now? Can you imagine? We'd get a bloody clip round the ear and sent to bed, wouldn't we?
Yeah, easy.
Do you know what I mean? If any of them talked the way that I've seen some of these kids treating the older people, my God, my grandfather would have punched you into the middle of next week if you dared speak to him like that. I tell you. Hugh Janus, nice to see you. Thank you for your super chat. I'm old. I have an aerial, and anything requiring a subscription is viewed on the high seas. Well, that's why the BBC's internal magazine, of course, was called Ariel.
Yeah,
wasn't it? Do you remember?
I remember that.
Yeah. Right. So, it's so exciting. It's so exciting this evening, isn't it, everybody? It's so exciting. Keep the chats coming. Where are we up to? Oh, it's one of my favorites. It's this one.
Yeah. So this is our cumulative block chart. So
I do love a cumulative block chart.
So the blue on the bottom is our overnight rating, and then the green is the additional viewers added to the overnight rating to get our +7 rating. And I highlighted this last week. We can see that the increase to +7 has dropped throughout the first 3 episodes, and again for the 4th episode of the series. So to counteract this, all the people that are supposedly watching on iPlayer and catch-up services, etc., that number's going down. It's just maths, okay? This is not interpretation of the numbers or whatever. This is how we're getting to the +7s, and the way to get to the +7s is by taking off the overnight rating, and that increase to get to +7 has gone from 1.52 for the Robot Revolution. It's dropped to 1.42, 1.37, and now for Lucky Day to get to 2.802 million, it only went up by 1.29. So this is taking into account pre-transmission and those who watch on iPlayer over 7 days, who don't necessarily watch it live on the iPlayer, but who watch it at some point using the iPlayer service. That number is going down. So if that one person in the chat is watching it in that method, great. But there are fewer and fewer people like you doing the same thing.
Clearly, Bedweir, your maths are analog and probably also far right. They can't be true because they don't give the story that they want to hear.
Are you trying to say Bedweir can't count? That's a disgraceful thing to say.
You can't argue with maths, can you? It's black and white.
No, you can't. Yeah.
I'm sorry, and this is easy maths for people to do. The overnight figures are published. The +7 numbers are published. You take one away from the other, and you get the overnight to +7 increase, and that number is going down and has done for 4 consecutive weeks. So
what does that tell you?
Well, even if Doctor Who's getting a consistent viewership on live transmission of between 1.5 and 1.6 million, the number of people beyond that is going down.
Yeah. You can't be, the math speaks for itself, as you guys are saying. Unfortunately, we're dealing with propaganda. And it's very, I can't believe how many sheep there are in our beautiful country now. We'll just roll over and believe anything, believe anything they're told. And what we've got with Doctor Who alleged fans is we've got RTD and the BBC. BBC are unreliable people. Saying, oh, this thing's a huge success. They're going to believe it. And then they come out parrot fashion and repeat it. It's not. The figure's there. It's struggling. It needs help. It needs to come off the air for a couple of years and taken away from the bloody people that have murdered it over the last few years, in my opinion. Toonami and Heretic are both with us. Toonami is saying, evening Doctor Who has been recommissioned for 2 more series. And Heretic is saying, sorry, I can't be with you guys tonight. I'm down the pub. How outrageous. But is it true there is a confirmation of a 2027 series? We've just dealt with that, guys, at the very top of the show. It's a rumor, basically, put out. I'm thinking a space filler in the Mirror. However, you can go and look at the top of our show and you can have a look at it yourself and you can decide for yourself. But I think it's basically what we've been saying for some time. It is going to come back because the BBC studios are desperate to keep it. All Hands on Deck is with us. Hello, mate. You can't blame British people not watching a program that tells them to go away and stop living, or that we're living incorrectly, or that we're to be blamed for anything, or that we're nasty people, or because of the colour of our skin, which it has done, or because of our gender, which it has done. And Pete's saying to us, Pete Merritt, let's be honest, we all want more Doctor Who, but not the woke, wishy-washy crap we're getting now.
Yeah.
But we don't want analog Doctor Who. I'm just saying that now, okay?
Well, you could argue it has been. We had a comment there, and I can't find it now. Who was asking about if we'd do a sequel to our Target paperback show that we did to celebrate the Rangers 50 years last year? The answer to that, was it Digby? The answer is yes, and stay tuned with us. We've got a whole series planned, so thank you for that. And if you haven't seen it, it's on our playlist, our specials playlist. Go and have a look at that. What else we got there? Oh yeah, okay, so we'll move on. Thank you. Keep all your chats coming. We're on to this one now, Badria.
Yes, so let's pick up on Lucky Day's +7 consolidated rating. It was 2.802, and as you can see, it is the lowest +7 rating that Doctor Who has achieved post 2005. Again, not interpretation, this is just fact. So even those who are watching in advance on the iPlayer, who are watching at some point over 7 days on iPlayer, fewer people did that combined with the overnight than any Doctor Who episode since 2005.
Say that again.
Having +7 ratings, etc.
Wow.
So it was down 432,000 viewers from the Well. And as we pointed out, the increase from the overnight was 1.29 million. So that was down on the previous episode. So sorry, yeah. It's just I'm just, this isn't interpretation. It's just fact.
Yeah.
Fewer people watched Lucky Day over 7 days than any Doctor Who episode since 2005 when we first had this +7 rating. So yeah, sorry. You know, if you want to spin this in a positive way, then feel free, but I can't. It's
how would you do that? I mean, I know the BBC will find some way of doing it if they care. I don't think they do. We've got to remember as well that there's nobody in the so-called Doctor Who production office, the home of the Whoniverse. It's dark. There's nobody there. There's no filming going on. Nothing's happening at all.
I think they should take that comment you had up previously, JT, that BBC say it's not as bad as Legend of the Sea Devils. That would be a good tagline for them. You know? Yeah.
And the whole point of the +7 is it factors in the different ways in which people watch television.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Yeah, because you've got all that, that full thing.
Yeah, so those that don't watch it live, those who watch it on catch up, those who you know, can iPlayer it in advance from 8 a.m. on the day of transmission, all of that is factored in, and that's why, you know, we get a +7 rating. But that number is lower than ever before. It just is.
And you're proving it. It's there for everybody to see. It's there in black and white here on the show, everybody. It's truly sad days. It's sad days, and they've messed it up. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. Let's see what the guys say in the chat. Richard Brooks is saying the great British public are not watching. No, they're not. They're really not. Richard Brooks is again saying damning evidence that Russell Tough Davis experiment is a failure. Yeah. Comic Hinterlands is with us saying you would have thought with Lucky Day having very little of the current Doctor, that episode would have done better. Maybe they should have pushed that more.
Yours did, yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, Jack is saying RTD has no shame. He could lose all his viewers and rave about the potential type of audience that could have watched it. I'm still quite angry with that. Anybody in the BBC would think that they could actually say, you're not an audience for us anymore. We don't want you.
Yeah.
After them paying for the BBC for over 100 years.
Yeah.
I think that's shocking.
I mean, we sort of started this discussion by speculating whether the core audience of Doctor Who is about 1.5, 1 to 1.6 million people. That's not a lot of people. And the beauty of Doctor Who was, at one time or another, it appealed to everyone. It was a cultural show that everyone was aware of, and quite a lot of people watched. Yeah. It is now not that show.
No, it's not. It's alienated the huge audience it had. Yeah. And we've talked about that many times for anybody that's new to us now. We've talked about that many times here on the show about how that has happened, how Doctor Who has been ridiculed by the British public and by the alternative media that has now sprung up and is strong here in the UK. And as we've said many, many times, we're now back where it was in the 80s, where you were having ridiculous names being posted to play the Doctor. It's just nonsense these days. Just Jordan is with us saying a little louder for the people at the back, Bedouin, who are hiding from facts. So if you want to shout, please do. Sheila B in the devotions. JT, is it true that J.M. Straczynski, I can never say his name, is going to produce Doctor Who? No, it's not. It's a rumor. It's a rumor. Also, it's the BBC. It's the BBC. They've got people in Britain that they should be employing to do these sorts of jobs, especially on a British legendary show like Doctor Who. It should remain, in my opinion, British. So I wouldn't want to see him. I'd have something to say if somebody like that was brought in. But that's a rumor, pure rumor. Nothing about that is true. They've been saying it for years now as well. Craig is saying to us here, the BBC will be buoyed up by the fact that Doctor Who's viewing figures were much better than they were in the 1990s.
Well, not compared to that one night in 1996, but
yeah,
that's true.
Or Dimensions in Time. Yeah.
Oh. And Chris Morley is saying to us, yes, but it's the hugest, wonderfulest, biggest, greatest success. As people don't understand, it's not for people to watch in modern world of non-viewing positivity success. Well said, Chris. That sounds like the BBC.
That wrapped it all up, didn't it? Really, that was put it in a nice, tidy package.
Yeah. How did they describe it creatively? It's never been better. Just a shame.
It's never been better. Yeah, exactly. And Paul Schlafter saying Doctor Who is no longer must-see television. I know so many people that no longer watch it anymore. I don't know.
Me, I don't watch it.
Yeah, but yeah.
Do people know it's actually on? Because watching terrestrial television, you don't see much advertising for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Stay with us because we are going to be looking at tomorrow's episodes as part of this show, actually, because from the TV listings magazines, as we've been looking at traditionally now with the beginning of each episode, they should know it's on if they're buying TV listings magazines. If they're buying the TV listings magazine. Stephen Bellow is saying, I don't know anyone in America watching. No, neither do I. And Kev Gresham saying, JT, I was watching a classic Corrie from 1971 on YouTube today. It was brilliant. Great stories with a fantastic cast. Thank God they seem to have loaded a few months worth running after each other. Oh, well, there you go. Oh, there you go. Yeah. That's interesting to know. Good stuff, 70s Corey. And Stykes Boy is with us saying maybe people are just lazy. They can watch whenever they can, but despite being fans, they never actually do. Interesting point. What do you reckon to that, guys?
It's not very good. That's why people are watching. There's no denying that. Really, I'm not. I mean, we said before, I'm only watching it because we're reviewing it. I think I would have tuned out after the Empire of Death. Definitely, I'm telling you.
I think a proportion, and we know this is fact because they claim it. I think a proportion of Bedweir's iPlayer stats are people on that TQI/nutjob side that are obsessed with it because it panders to them. It will account for a lot of them watching it multiple times as well. So, you know, if you take all their multiple watches and revert them to just a single watch, your ratings are going to drop down further, aren't they? If you just look at it as isolated, unique views by one viewer, rather than they watched it 10 times, so it counts 10.
There you go. Yeah. I don't know. It's not working. I don't care who's going to come on the show and argue the point. Oh, you've got it wrong. You've got it wrong. It's not working. These figures now, we've been reporting these figures for a year. It's been going down and down and down since Whittaker episode 2, wherever that was called. It's not working. And it needs a major rethink. And I think 2 years is far too little, quite frankly, to bring it back. I would want 3, possibly 4 years, production years off to bring this thing back. Douglas Browning, there's a bunch of weird conflicting Doctor Who news coming out today, from Piper being the 16th Doctor to Straczynski being the showrunner. Yeah, this has been around all week. If you missed our show on Wednesday, we looked at some of the other rumours that were around as well, because they've been around for not just today, they've been around all week. It's crazy out there what's going on in fandom. What's this? Corn Runner with that lovely picture of Roger Moore there from the Bond films. You wouldn't want the Murder, She Wrote guy. Who's that? No, quite frankly, I wouldn't. Wouldn't want him. No, I wouldn't. I genuinely believe that Doctor Who, even in this day and age, should remain 100% British. It's I've said it before. If you're outside the UK, you cannot possibly understand Doctor Who's relationship in our television history, in our culture, and I would want it to stay there. I think it hasn't. I don't know what you guys think. I think the last series has proven why it shouldn't become international. Well, I don't know what you guys think of that.
Well, I think it can be international and still be British at the same time in terms of the actual remit of where it goes around the world to be sold. I mean, like it did before, you know, wasn't it 120 countries it was sold to in Classic Who, you know? So I don't understand why you know, it can't be done again, you know?
Yeah, it can do it. I think its production should be definitely UK and UK centric, just because that's one of the reasons why it sold so well in the first place, because it was British and people wanted to see British stuff. But it has always had global appeal, definitely.
Yeah, I think it's had global appeal though, because it's British. My point is, as with the last episode, they've tried to make it too international. The last episode was dull as ditchwater with stories that I've never heard of because I'm British, and I felt like I was being penalised for that. You know, and yet I compared it to something like Snake Dance, which is set on Manusa and fictionalized, and it's based on some other sort of cultural thing. That's what I think Doctor Who should do. I want Doctor Who to stay British in the fact that it's got a British outlook, which can only come from British staff. That's what I mean. I don't care if they set the TARDIS in Miami or they put the TARDIS down in Africa or wherever, as long as it remains British. And last week didn't. It wasn't Doctor Who, and it wasn't British as far as I'm concerned. And I see that a lot in these last episodes. It's been trying too much to possibly pander to a worldwide audience. No?
By box ticking one minority after another, or one niche after another, but not not addressing the very things that made Doctor Who successful in the first place, ignoring all of that, and it's just a propaganda vehicle for a different message of the week.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. I'd rather have Monster of the Week than Message of the Week. I think that's where Doctor Who needs to go. DC Game, it's good to see you. Why bring the show back at all? The format has been exhausted. That's why it needs time off. Yeah. Because it has. And also now Doctor Who is not a leader, it's a follower. Doctor Who was always a leader. When it came off in 89, countless shows propped up in the 90s, all inspired by the Doctor. It was pretty obvious. Yeah. It was pretty obvious where they were getting their inspiration from. Now, it follows everything else that's out there because it has to appeal to people that are watching Star Wars shows or the Marvel shows or Smallville or whatever it's going to be.
Bridgerton. Yeah, you're right, Paul. Bridgerton.
Yeah.
Even referencing it in the episode, for God's sake, just in case we didn't get the message.
And yet the audiences aren't the same. A Bridgerton audience is not necessarily going to be the Doctor Who audience. We have to face this.
I mean, I'm intrigued to see if there's going to be that crossover of football fans and Eurovision fans that are going to keep watching for Doctor Who tomorrow.
They're not the same demographic, are they? Let's be honest.
I don't think so, no.
And the demographics are so important to the BBC and Bad Wolf, as we know. Born in 68, saying there's no point watching Doctor Who when it's more fun watching countless review channels who explain you the plot in more entertaining ways than RTD ever will. And Trek Matt is with us saying that's when Torchwood went downhill, when the Americans took it over. That's a great point, Trek Matt. Children on Earth was brilliant. People went back to watch Miracle Day. Crap.
Yeah, it was crap. Yeah,
I never got through it.
Yeah,
never got through it.
It was awful. I didn't either. I still don't know how it finished. And I don't care. I got through to the second episode. I can't watch this. It's ridiculous because they were basically rebooting it for that network in America, making it American. And it lost all its identity. And that's what I think they're doing with Doctor Who, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
John Mason saying it was liked around the world because it was British, and Bill Lowry saying it has international appeal because it was British. Yeah, exactly. And I just think anything else would be a mistake now. But
that's the element that they hate, though, isn't it? The producers of it. That's the element that they hate now. They hate the fact that they hate anything British. They hate it, which is why they want to take it out. And I agree with what you were saying, JT, about it needs more than 2 years because it's extremely toxic as a brand with the British public, and you need time for that toxicity to wear off. You need to give time for people to forget the crap that's gone and remember the nostalgia of when it was good, and then they might welcome it back. But if you do it after a couple of years, they'll be like, I'm not watching that. It was only on 2 minutes ago and it was absolute crap.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Yeah, apathy has set in, says Thor. Behind it needs a 5-year break, regenerate the excitement, and a hard reboot, including revisiting some classic stories. I'm not sure about that side. I would want to reboot. Richard Brooks is also in the Timeless Child cannot be removed so soon after it was forced into canon. The writers are too close to it. The show will require a long rest for the dust to settle. I hope I live to see Doctor Who back. Listen, Richard, the Timeless Child doesn't count. You don't have to follow it. Cut it off. Just don't buy the merchandise for it.
They could have changed that with one line, quite easily if they wanted to,
But they didn't, did they? He doubled down, didn't he? He doubled down.
Well, they double down on it 1 minute, then they ignore it the next. 1 minute is a Time Lord, next minute is an orphan. They can't make up their own mind on it. So why the hell should we? Or rather, why the hell should we even accept it as is? Any Doctor Who that comes back, I would be quite happy now because it's tarred by association. So I'd be quite happy now if they brought it back after a few years, that they don't reference anything from 2005 at all. Yeah. And stop numbering doctors and just take it from wherever we saw McGann clear off. Just do it that way.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
It's open to anybody to do whatever they want to, isn't it? Really, it depends who. And if like we talked at the top of the show, it's Russell that's still got his grubby little protuberances in this thing when it comes back. It's dead. It's dead already. Absolutely dead. We will be looking at all this when it becomes official. So stay with us here on Who's Views. Make sure you're subscribed. Chris Lawley, thank you for your super chat. Any news of the war between the land and the sea production? Yes. Apparently, I'm hearing that there is a trailer for it following the final episode of this series of The Alleged Doctor Who, including if you're at the cinema watching it all. I can't wait to see that. That's all I know at the moment. We're still waiting for confirmation. They are waiting to get the current thing off the air before they start publicizing this spin-off. I don't think it's going to be massive because, again, nobody's in-house to do it. The production teams have all moved on to other stuff. So who's going to do all that? Stay with us. We're all going to be finding out together. You've got this one for us. You've got this one for us, Bedouin.
So this is just reiterating the point. The blue number is the overnight, and the green is how we get to +7. So we mentioned that to get the +7 for Lucky Day, that was an increase of 1.29 million viewers. That added to the overnight of 1.51. So that means that the overnight makes 54% of the +7 rating, and anything beyond the overnight, retransmission, catch up, iPlayer, whatever, is 46% of the +7. So these percentages are of the +7 rating, and in every case, the overnight is the predominant number. So just to reiterate one more time, the overnight does matter because it makes up the bulk of the +7 rating. Fact.
Is that lad still in the chat? What was that lad's name? Are you still in the chat and keeping quiet? Well, if you're still in the chat, what do you make of this one then? Because there you go. There's Bedouin addressing your point with mathematics, with facts, with statistics. So, you know, what do you think? What do you think? Dirty Hamble is also saying to us, I'd forgotten about the Sea Devil spin-off. We all do. And we have to remind ourselves it's on the way. Talking of Sea Devils, though, if you are watching You and Eden and enjoying it, as we all are, and isn't it great to have the Doctor back on British television, everybody?
Yep.
The Doctor. There's the Doctor, people. Anyway, the Sea Devils is coming up soon. Stay with us on this channel because we'll be reviewing the Sea Devils. That's coming up as soon as we get all this current nonsense out of the way, and I've had a cup of tea and a cake. Stay with us, everybody. So yes, looking forward to that. So interesting little diagrams there, Bedouin. That's well, I mean, what can you say? You can't challenge. I don't understand how people can challenge this, and they would believe the propaganda. Yes, I can actually, because that's the sort of society we're in today, aren't we?
The whole point of putting these slides together is to counteract the propaganda that's been put out that keeps pushing this narrative that more people are watching on the iPlayer, blah, blah, blah. The facts are they are not. It's borne out in the numbers. So the +7 rating is made up predominantly of the overnight rating for all 4 episodes we've had so far.
And there you go. Look, he's putting his foot down. Simple as that. They do challenge. I mean, this is truth. But then people all over the place, including far left extremists, are challenging all sorts of truths, aren't they? Now,
they don't like reality. Reality stings for them. They struggle to. I'd say they struggle to accept it, but they can't accept it. So they spin their own narrative to give themselves something to hook their lives onto. But it's still false. You can't argue with the numbers.
Yeah, although they're going to continue to try, even when this thing comes off the air. I'm looking forward to that time when it happens, because there'll be a lot to discuss. Thor Behind, thank you for your super chat. Many thanks to you all for being that constant island of sanity and reason. Keep up the great work. Oh, thank you, Thor Behind. Thank you very much. That's very good of you. We are trying. We are very trying. It's all going to kick off when this thing comes off as well, because there are meltdowns galore going to be happening, not necessarily around the world, but certainly in this country. There's going to be a minority of fandom who won't know what to do. Not that they know which way is up anyway, but no, it's going to be interesting. So stay with us. Wrestling reviewer Daniel, give me planets, time travels, monster, and clever sciencey based stuff.
Yeah.
You have to go.
Just
to
give us Doctor Who, for God's sake.
Yeah.
It's not much to ask, is it?
It's not. No. Yeah.
And linked 1 to 2 thing, probably with another Wilderness year. I am not sure the comic book and audios would stop, plus improve the current Doctor. The books worked in the 90s to early 2005 as the TV Doctor base worked. It will be different this time round because a lot of fans have been alienated because they were told to go away, and they did, as is proven by the flop of this version of the series.
The good faith is gone, definitely. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I can't see, and I could be wrong, but in my personal opinion, I can't see Doctor Who magazine lasting another year or two.
I think it's toast. I think it's absolute toast. But they've been selling their soul, haven't they? They've chosen to die on the particular hill of TQIA far left propaganda and bollocks. So they make the choice, they make the bed, they lie in it. I've got no sympathy. It's sad, but I stopped buying that from Whittaker, and it was already going off the deep end at that point. Anyway, it was just a fantasy mag for crystal meth at that point, and it was just getting unfunny. So I stopped, and I'd got it from issue 1, like a lot of us.
Yeah, that's sad. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we all did, yeah. And Christopher Livingston is with us. Hello, Christopher. I've always been a fanboy, and this is still Doctor Who to me. Well, that's good news, Chris. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I really am, because I like it when people come on and are polite like you are, and saying I'm a fan, and I still like it, and it's still Doctor Who to me. I like it. I just hope you can understand where we're coming from. I take it you are probably around about Kirsty and Emilio's age, possibly. But if you can in your chat, and if I can find you again, what makes it Doctor Who to you? Because I'm really struggling, because I can't see Ncuti Gatwa as the Doctor at all.
No,
it doesn't hit it for me.
Yeah, if you take out,
please.
If you take out the police box and take out the logo, what left behind is Doctor Who.
Yeah, but I'm absolutely delighted that Chris has come on and said I'm loving it. Good for you.
Yeah,
it's nice to hear that it's. I know it's a small audience, but it's nice to hear that they're enjoying it. Because I don't know anybody that is, but anything, But welcome, Christopher. It's lovely to see you. Thank you for coming to join us. And hopefully you'll stay with us. And when we return after this to looking at what I call proper Doctor Who, starting with the Sea Devils, maybe you'll come and join us. Are you watching Pertwee on Eden? What do you think?
I've been intrigued to see what he likes about it, because I think it'd be interesting to have a few examples of the things he thinks are still Doctor Who. That would be interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, that's genuine. That's not calling him out, is it? Because like you've already said,
I'm genuinely interested about it.
Yeah, it's great that he's here, and like you say, very polite, and we're happy to have him and everything. That's great, fantastic, and would love to see him again. But it is genuine curiosity.
Totally.
Yeah.
Because I wish I could see it. I really do. But
I think we all do, because we had such high hopes, didn't we, at the launch of this thing back in 2023?
Oh,
yeah.
We did a whole year of celebrating Doctor Who for its 60th anniversary, Chris, and it got to the point where we were really building up this new series, because we were genuinely hoping it was going to be good, even though we did have some worries because RTD started opening his big gob. But we thought, no, let's wait till we see it, and then it hit us in the face and the Star Beast onwards, and it was such a disappointing time for all of us. Anyway, we'll move on. Chris is there, and he'll get back to us. That's fantastic. But thank you, Chris. We've got some extra bits and pieces here that you've put together for us, haven't we, Bedweir? And it starts with this one.
Yes. So following headlines on Wednesday, I think, where you talked about the fact that the series finale is going to be in cinemas, we have covered previously on the channel when Doctor Who has been in cinemas. So I thought I'd just present the numbers that the latest series has got to compete with, and we'll start with the weekend gross. So these numbers are published every week and reflect box office takings for all the films shown in cinemas over a weekend. So in the case of The Day of the Doctor back in 2013, God, that seems a lifetime ago.
It does,
yeah, Deep Breath, and then The Legend of Ruby Sunday and Empire of Death, which was last year. So we can see that The Day of the Doctor took just under £1.8 million at the UK box office. This is just the UK. Deep Breath got over £500,000, and The Legend of Ruby Sunday and Empire of Death, £364,353. So you can see that the box office takings wise, it has dropped a little bit over time, but that's the bar for whatever it's called, Wish World and the Reality War to beat is £364,000.
Okay, so from there we'll go to this one
again. This is another statistic that's provided when they release these figures. So Deep Breath was actually shown in more cinemas than The Day of the Doctor. But for The Legend of Ruby Sunday and Empire of Death, it was down to only 276 cinema sites. So again, it will be really interesting to see whether this series finale is shown in more or less cinemas in the UK. I have a feeling possibly less.
Yeah, so when we get that figure, we'll bring it back to you as well. But look at the drop from even Deep Breath. 276 for the Doctor Who Legend of the Ruby Sunday Empire of Death showing. 276. And then we'll move on to this one then, Bedwyr.
And then this is a combination of those two figures. So for each of those cinema sites, the average takings that they were making from that screening. So The Day of the Doctor, pretty significant, over £4,000 per cinema site. Deep Breath, actually slightly less than The Legend of Ruby Sunday and Empire of Death, because it was in more cinemas than the finale from last year. So again, this will be interesting to see, of all the cinema sites that are showing Doctor Who, how much are they making at the box office compared to these numbers?
This doesn't even include the Peter Cushing films that were out a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see what Canal did, Studio Canal did for that. I'd say, but there you go. There's another thing. Again, the numbers are diminishing even for these cinema things that they keep putting on, which I still don't understand it, to be honest. Why they're doing all this, Who viewers? Why they keep putting it on the pictures? It's not making them any real money, and it's taking away their viewing figures from the telly. What we've got here is what Chris Hawley saying to us, Bedwyr, multi-cinemas would make money to show Blake 7 classic Who, such more classic television. Art theatres, art cinemas can occasionally do that. I know there's rights issues and stuff, but yeah, it can happen. And Frankie wants to know, Frankie Stanager, who goes to the cinema now? I do, but not for Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Next one for me, Mission Impossible. Can't wait. And Richard Brooks saying to us, slide after slide of diminishing returns for a family show hijacked by ideology. It brings me no joy to see my favourite show ailing. I think you can see from our responses there as well that every week we're doing this with Bedwyr, and he's taking the time to put these facts together, and we never get anything else except, and it's heartbreaking in a sense to see the show bad.
Yeah, very, very.
Plymouth Who is saying to us, I tried telling my girlfriend overnights don't matter once. Let's just say my 7-day rating was in the single figures after that. You're a brave man. Interesting stuff, though, didn't they? Breeze put together there.
Yes, it's just to provide some context and to give you some numbers to work with when we come to have a look at the stuff when we do hit the end of the series and we get those numbers in at the start of June. So yeah, we will come back and we will cover it. But I thought I'd include those slides just for the Who's viewers to go away with and follow up on your discussion on Wednesday.
Well, thanks for that, because it is good to see, isn't it, Who viewers? A lot of discussion over that as well over there. But Yeah, nobody's really excited about this sort of thing anyway. Duncan is saying to us, I think my local cinema actually sold out for Day of the Doctor and put it on another screen, which then also sold out.
That was different days, wasn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah, it really was, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
But it also felt like different days as well, didn't it?
Yeah,
I mean, that's when the world was semi-sane.
Yeah.
So what the BBC was certainly sane, and when they actually had a marketing plan of how to market 50 years of Doctor Who to try and make some money out of it, and they did.
Yeah,
they did. Doesn't seem to be high on their list of achievements at the moment, does it?
No.
Drive me mad. Business, please. We've got here as well from Mark Reeves. Thank you for your super chat, mate. Our Father up in heaven, perpetually be thy name. Please watch over your fans. He is. He is. Some of them. Yeah. He is, bless him. And he's also looking around going, what the hell is that, when he sees shooting Gatwa? Matthew Burrows is saying we're a long way from Day of the Doctor now.
Yeah.
And Jack was saying to us that the 50th, oh, the chat's moving so quickly. The 50th made the 60th feel like a joke. The 60th was poo.
It was a joke.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? It was poo. Absolutely
We
poo.
did get Tears of the TARDIS, though, didn't we? Yeah.
There's that tumbleweed going. There we go. But yeah, thank you everybody for joining us in this. Glenn Piper's with us. Hi, Glenn. Do you think if Doctor Who has cancelled the game, will it ever come back? It depends on the nature of the cancellation, Glenn. I don't know what the guys think, but for me, if they say and make an announcement in the next couple of months saying it's going on hiatus for 2 years because people are doing other work and it's going to come back with RTD, then it's going to come back exactly the same. If they say we're going to reformat it, then it's anyone's guess. What do you guys think?
Well, there's a possibility they won't say anything at all, don't you think? Like they did in 89, 90 and just let it just slide, you know?
Different world back then, though, wasn't it? Because there wasn't as much press interest then either. Whereas now, as we've seen from the Mirrors thing that we talked about at the top of the show, there is. And they would go after them to say, where's Doctor Who? Where's Doctor Who? So I think there will be some sort of, even if it's muted, something to say, we just, the viewing figures are not what they were. We just need to look at it. You know, that sort of thing that they said before. We just need to look at it and adjust a few things to get people back interested. I don't know. It might not be a big one, but I think they will say something.
I think it's possible that there will be silence until they do go back in front of the cameras, because as soon as they do, it'll get out.
Yeah.
It'll become common knowledge that Doctor Who's filming again. And
well, look what happened during the 60th. Remember, there's lots of these shots of Beep the Meep and stuff like that on location and all that kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, you know, there's plenty of people that, you know, try and want to watch the filming and it will get out, you know, it just will. Some of us are fortunate to know people in the industry and you're aware of when things are filming. And Doctor Who is the kind of show that you get told, oh yeah, it's back in production. But
it's not just that, it's casting calls. The casting calls go out.
Yeah.
You know, and nothing else at the moment. There's nothing out there casting for another series of Doctor Who.
And when they, you know, close roads in and around Cardiff, you know, people, you know, share that information. You know, it'll get out, and I don't know whether they can try and drag that out for long enough without saying anything.
If they have any responsibility to the fan base they have created, they will have to say something, because these people are going to melt down.
Maybe they'll have a caption saying the Doctor will return in 2027.
Something like that, or Doctor Who will be back, like Bond used to do.
Yeah.
To say that.
I think they'll just try and segue straight into propaganda about the Sea Devil thing, and then when that finishes, just go quiet.
That's why I think, Ian, they've got this trailer coming at the end of the series.
Yeah, I don't think they'll reference, you know, any Doctor Who going off the air or anything. I think they'll just leave it, go for the Sea Devils, and then hopefully just let that fade away and not mention Doctor Who unless they're challenged, and then they'll put out a spin line, I think.
Well, anyway, we're going to leave all that there, because we're going to get back to looking at what's happening this weekend in the world of Doctor Who. Of course, here in Europe, or in Europe and in Britain, it's going to be the Eurovision Song Contest being screened tomorrow on BBC One. live from wherever it is. I'm not that interested this year after last year's nonsense. But of course, it is also Juno Dawson's episode tomorrow, which is the Interstellar Song Contest. We all know, because we reported it here on Who's Views just a short while ago, that Ncuti Gatwa was supposed to be part of the Eurovision Song Contest tomorrow. He was supposed to be the person that was reading out the British scores for all the acts. Oh, yes. Well, of course, yesterday, the news broke that he's not going to be doing that now, which has given rise to a lot of discussion and a lot of rumour. It started with this from the radiotimes.com as well. Sophie Ellis-Bextor is to replace Ncuti Gatwa as UK's Eurovision spokesperson. The news came at the end of the second semi-final on Thursday evening. Ncuti Gatwa is no longer participating as United Kingdom spokesperson for Eurovision, with Sophie Ellis-Bextor stepping in for the Doctor Who star. The news came from the BBC towards the end of the second Eurovision semi-final, which saw the UK's entry, Remember Monday, perform their song What the Hell Just Happened. That's quite appropriate anyway. A statement from the BBC read, due to unforeseen circumstances, unfortunately, Ncuti Gatwa is no longer able to participate as spokesperson during the grand final this weekend. However, we are delighted to confirm that the BBC's Radio 2's very own Friday Night Kitchen disco diva, Sophie Ellis-Bextor, will be presenting the jury result live from the UK. Cue hysteria from fans, I'm going to say, in inverted commas, who then went on to all sorts of rumours. Did you guys see the rumours today?
I've not seen them, no.
No, not really.
Is he okay? Is he broken a nail or something? What happened?
Well, there are rumours out there, isn't there, who viewers? A lot of you would have seen this as well. The biggest rumour going on is he is basically decided to withdraw. They're saying unforeseen circumstances. This is all alleged. This is all rumour. I want to make that perfectly clear right now. But some fans are claiming that he has pulled out of doing the role at the Eurovision, A, because he's left Doctor Who, and B, because Israel got through to the final tomorrow night. And on top of that, also, because the Eurovision banned the waving of the LGBTQ cult flag, as well as several other political messaging flags after last year's shambles. Now, if you didn't see the Eurovision last year, it was awful. It was a joke, and it's put me off supporting and watching it for life. Look at this. This was just shocking, absolutely shocking. And every single camera angle, every shot seemed to have this complete lunacy from the far left involved in the show. It was sickening. Last year's Israel entry also got harassed, the poor woman, and it's happened again to the Israel woman this year. But this, if true, just shows what I've always thought personally about this one, that he is totally over there, right out there. Do you know what I'm saying, guys?
Yeah.
Suggests that he's not a very nice person. I'm not surprised if those are accurate reasons, but yeah, not good.
No.
I mean, that's like saying, I can't report on the news because I don't like the Conservative Party.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or I can't give the football results because I really dislike Manchester City. You can't just exclude yourself from a role because you disagree with an element of the thing you're reporting on.
But again, that's what they do, though, isn't it? They are literally la 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 kind of people that they can't accept, they don't accept, so they try and silence it or talk to the hand and turn around and go the other way. They pretend it's not there. They can't cope with reality. They do it all the time, and he's just showing that he's joined at the hip with them, which we never doubted.
We need to say that this is speculation. This is rumor. of why he's left. I mean, they did say it was due to unforeseen circumstances. I hope there's nothing wrong with his family or health or anything like that. But it was obviously planned because they threw it was badly timed, basically, when this piece of information came out. But they obviously knew over the last few days, because his agent would have had to contact them to say, right, he's not going to do it. But the fact is, the sad thing is, guys, that when fans go on today saying, oh, it's because of that flag nonsense, the political nonsense, and then supporting an organization we can't even say the word of, possibly, allegedly, why do we believe it?
Yeah. The question is, I mean, it's a blatant publicity stunt anyway to have them doing it in the first place, isn't it? To try and promote the episode that's on before it. But it's like, why is he doing it? It's like pointless. As we said, people in Europe aren't watching Doctor Who, are they, to be honest? So who's it aimed at? You know, it's daft, really. But
it could be that he's in rehearsal for this new play he's doing.
Yeah.
I would like to think that comes first. Others would then counter at me by saying, well, he could have done it at the rehearsal. Maybe not. We don't know.
Yeah.
But as I say, the fact that I actually listened, Bedweir, to these rumours from these fans last night and this morning and actually go, that sounds plausible, I think that's terribly sad.
Yeah.
It's perfectly plausible that he's stuck in America. Last time I think I saw him, he was at the Met Gala or whatever we talked about last week. I think. Maybe he hasn't got back to the UK, or for whatever reason, who knows. I don't know. It is speculation because they haven't said why he's pulled out. I don't think it would have been an obvious Doctor Who tie-in, because knowing the program, the television show that is Eurovision, it's so carefully cultivated. There's no opportunity for banter because it's multiple satellite signals and all that sort of stuff. You can't, where is it? It's in Basel in Switzerland. So whoever the presenters are will introduce him, and he'll just have 30 seconds to give the point, who's got what points.
Yes, that's all you have to do.
There's no point in being in character as the Doctor or anything like that, because you can't do anything creatively with it, because it's on such a tight schedule that he's just got to get the information out. So
basically, anyone could do it, really. That's the thing.
Anyone could do it, and anyone has done it in the past. We've had some nice names going on. They do the bit, they take the money, they walk off, go to the pub. Good for them. But I've been saying this between all day. For people say it's not. Even if he was going to still do it, there'd be no point in him doing the Doctor, because we're dealing with Europe, and Doctor Who is not popular in Europe. It's never taken off in France, for heaven's sake. It's at low ebb somewhere else. Okay, it's got an audience in Germany, but it's a cult. It's a cult.
There's no point in being on it promoting the show that's just been on.
No, unless they were really trying to push next week or the iPlayer, which is not successful.
They can't do that. And the Eurovision bosses would have completely vetoed that. They'll be stood around, there'll be people that are looming over behind the camera to just get through the numbers. You've got 10 seconds. It's so carefully put together and so.
Why do you think why was he chosen then? Do you think? I mean, it's an odd choice then.
Because I still think they think, oh, he's Doctor Who, oh, he's big, and don't forget, Paul. The industry says he's the next big thing. He's been the next big thing.
That's the thing. He's still not the next big thing at all. Really,
that's the thing. He is. Yeah. They absolutely love him. Again, I'm going to say it, and you might not like this, people. It's DEI, because show business is ruled by DEI. They don't care if they're being misogynistic or homophobic when they're doing it. They really don't.
They see him as a TQI icon, don't they? So as it's something that's been taken over by that cult, they'll want him. Yeah. But I would imagine if he's got to deliver something quickly in a time, he's got to think on his feet and talk unscripted, but stay within a certain set of parameters and not go here and not go there. And I don't think he can do that. I don't think he can do that. He's not. You look at him on these interviews for Doctor Who, where he's darting his eyes off camera, looking for the guide. What can he say? What can he say? I just don't. I think he's probably backed out of this because he realizes he can't do it.
Yeah, maybe a challenge for him.
He'd get called out. He'd get seen.
I can tell you what the script is. They have a script, and it's something along the lines of this. Hello there, it's Justin from Britain. I'm here with the votes. Great show, everybody. Congratulations. Sending you big love, everybody. Oh, you're all fabulous. All acts are brilliant, and we love you. Here are our top 3 votes.
Yeah.
That's the script. Get off. Take your...
UK, no point.
Yeah. Lex has been there for a little while. Lex Kane, thank you for your super chat. I wonder if Gatwa is leaving the BBC. Well, he was never employed by the BBC, so he can't be. I mean, that's how acting works now as well. You go where the gig is, and a lot of it is production, independent productions now who will pay you. So he was working for BBC Studios and Bad Wolf, and I think it was probably Bad Wolf that were paying the checks.
Yeah,
that's what I would think of, because that was the partner. So I think it was because the production office was in Bad Wolf in Cardiff. I think they were the what's the word I'm looking for? The boss, if it makes sense. Let's have a look and see what's going on in the chat. Josh H is saying, come on, Ncuti, if you didn't want to do it in the first place, just say it. You're in your 30s. You're a big boy now. Chris Lawley is saying, Ncuti doesn't have a brain. He's just another idiotic sponge. I like that. Robert Payne is saying to us, it's like saying, I can't report the football results because I don't like Oasis. Even I get that one. Hilton Fitzsimmons sounds about right for the BBC. Doesn't it just, Hilton? What a great name you've got, by the way. Hilton. Yeah. It does, doesn't it? And Tony Farrell's TARDIS. So DEI might not include Israelis. How shocking. Says it all. Matthew Pounder, the left are the most bigoted. Yeah. Yep. Plymouth Who? Running away so his cult Hollywood mates don't block him from future bit parts and forgettable movies. Ooh, scathing. But probable. And Real Steve, if it's true. These are the rumours that his fans in Doctor Who were saying today. Guess where they sit when it comes to politics?
Well, my concern is that those same fans are now going to target Sophie Ellis-Bextor for doing it. For reasons that we don't know are true or even remotely accurate.
Yeah.
That's my concern, because nothing. Sophie Ellis-Bextor always got people say positive things about her. And if she's going to get targeted because of some of these rumors that are spiraling as to why Ncuti's pulled out, then that's completely unacceptable.
If they do that, I mean, we're not saying that they have, and there's no evidence yet, but it's a speculation. No. And, the problem is we do have fans that will do that. Well, they say they're fans. There are other people that watch this show who will do that because that's what they're like. I mean, I've had that. I've had people hounding me over not wanting a female doctor, and then recently by saying things about, why was that doctor in that episode last week? What's that got to do with it? Oh, it's because she was dark-skinned. Because it was.
Yeah.
But this is the problem with the vacuum of information, because it's just he's not able to do it. If they said scheduling conflict, cannot make the time frame due to rehearsals and whatever, they could have put anything out. If they put personal reasons, then people probably wouldn't have speculated. But because they've just left it open, unforeseen circumstances is so vague that people are now trying to find a reason, and that's how these rumors have started. And my worry, as I say, is that it goes further.
I think the rumors have started just because these people that started it are so far left and so ignorant, and again, not looking at the truth and reality and jumping on bandwagons, that's what they automatically assumed. And that was down to the BBC press office bringing out a press release immediately after, or near to immediately after, Israel's win. Because these idiots have put 2 and 2 together and made 5. Positive discrimination is not positive, says P. Ferreira. You're absolutely right. Babette Bombshell is here to say the sad truth is that Doctor Who will not be allowed to take the amount of time it needs to be properly rested. It needs a minimum of 5 years off, and we won't get that. I fear you are going to be right there, Babette Bombshell. I really do. Aaron Sutherland is also saying to us the British Act is billed for 0 points in the news, so it won't help Ncuti's and Doctor Who's image. That's the other point, isn't it? That we did have a couple of that from fans. I saw today.
They're so unrelated.
Yeah.
The Eurovision is just because Doctor Who's doing a Eurovision episode doesn't mean Eurovision has any connection to Doctor Who.
No.
They're 2 separate entities. It's again they're counting their beans up and making ridiculous numbers.
Yeah. Well, that's what these people are like, though, aren't they? Progressives can't cross them. They eat their own, says Julianne Goodwin, as seen today, because some of the fan base got at Ncuti for pulling out of this thing. So he couldn't win. And that's where we are in the world now, aren't they? And when they're doing a lot of missteps in my eyes when it comes to this show. A lot of missteps. And, just, let's do that. Let's do that. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. And don't forget that he opened his big mouth on Graham Norton last year and said he was doing a series 3, and that got edited. There's a lot of mistakes going around. I can't wait till the books come out when this thing's off the air. I tell you.
It'll be quite telling, won't it?
It would be, and we're going to have great shows talking about it all. Thomas, thank you so much for your super chat. I hope you are well. With this current day slop, I found myself discovering a lot of good old movies on television. On that topic, any suggestions where to start with Classic Who? Oh, whoa!
You and Eden start there. Yeah. So.
Well, Thomas is abroad. So what?
Is he?
On DVD or Blu-ray, guys?
Season 7.
I knew he was going to say that. Predictable as ever. Oh, my dear doctor. Paul, what would you say?
Oh, well, I agree with season 7, but possibly season 12 or 13 if you can get anywhere. Any videos from or DVDs from that season?
Bedouin?
I can't argue with season 7. I mean, obviously, you should start at the beginning with An Unearthly Child. You'll have to
get it. Yeah.
You'll have to skip a few, but also it's worth getting that on a copy of that on DVD.
Do you know, season 7 is a great season to go into because it is a soft reboot with a brand new Doctor in his first episode there, setting the scene. Great classic British telly as well.
Yeah,
absolutely gorgeous classic telly, as we have said on our season 7 reviews. There you go.
Yeah.
But Tom's first series is very special for me because, again, new Doctor from his first story onwards. Sarah Jane Smith, Harry Sullivan. The season, I remember every episode of that when I was little because it really, really did hit me then. Getting over the fact that the white-haired guy had gone and this weirdo was in his place. I would say that one as well. So absolutely fantastic. So it's even 12 for myself. There you go. Jason Parker is saying to us, nobody does racism and homophobia like the left. They are the real, I don't know if I can say that, of the 21st century. They fail to acknowledge they are the establishment while still pretending to be anti-establishment. That's because of bloody hypocrites, the lot of them. Legion of James is saying, start with Spearhead from Space. I knew he'd say that one as well. And then Spiel, yes, mate. I say JT should do the job of Eurovision announcer. Just channel James Robertson Justice crossed with a Dalek. No, I'd do it as Zippy. I wonder if he's ever done it. Did Zippy and George do it once, or is that just in my strange imagination? And Lex, thank you for your super chat. This current form of Doctor Who is the end for me. At least we have 26 years of great, excellent content of Classic Who, and amen to that. Well, you're not the only one, are you, Lex? There's lots of Doctor Who fans that have just said, this is it now. This is it. We see that through Bedouin's ratings as well. The fan base has also gone. It's so awful. And P. Ferreira is saying, I'm not surprised the show is being mismanaged. Since it came on in 2005, RTD has made a very unprofessional, disorganized environment. And aren't the stories coming out?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Ooh, lots more to come on that one, I think, everybody. Random Lad 87 is with us. Random Lad, we spoke about this at the beginning of the show. When we're finished, go back and look at our report at the very beginning of this particular edition. But good to see you, Random Lad. How are you? Hope you're well. It's Friday, everybody. It's the 16th of May, 2025. We've just been talking, amongst lots of different things, about the fact that Ncuti Gatwa is not going to be involved in presenting the British scores at the Eurovision Song Contest tomorrow. Oh, dear, my heart bleeds. Never mind. Let's move on. Let's move on to the writer of tomorrow's Doctor Who episode, shall we? Yes, this is the well-known homophobe Juno Dawson, who on his Instagram today did this. This is worth reading, he said. Why Israel still in Eurovision? The answer is more complex than you might think. Written by Chris West for, I'm assuming, wasn't it The Guardian, I think it was. I think Kirsty sent me that there. Oh, surprise, surprise, still is here. And then his opinion, my opinion, he says, is that like authors, participating nations should agree to a morality clause. Anything which reflects poorly on the Eurovision Broadcasting Union or Vitally threatens free, fair, and unbiased voting should equal disqualification. Eurovision has strict rules about political content, and at present, Israel's involvement is intrinsically political. The final result cannot be accurate or fair. Yeah, what a bloody hypocrite.
Him talking about anything to do with morality.
Or
Here,
fairness.
let me put another book in children's schools about perverted sex. Yeah. And then talking about morality. Utter hypocrite.
And then let's show the picture again, because he supports this. And last year, as I said before, the most painful Eurovision in its history, and it's quite a long history actually as well. And our entry was this.
Oh God, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Got no points, didn't he?
It got nil points, did Ollie Alexander. Everybody here. And doesn't he look ill?
Yeah.
That was last year. Has anybody heard from him this year?
Doesn't he look tired?
Looks ill, doesn't he? Looks ill.
He does, yeah.
I hope you're not, Ollie. I used to like you till you start going off in it. But talk about, there's Juno talking about, oh, it's political, it's political. It was incredibly political last year. But you didn't want to comment about that one, as far as I know, did you? No.
To be fair, it's always been political in some respect, hasn't it, really? Because you can tell by the way the way people vote, you know, the country's vote's very political, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely true. You're absolutely true. Problem being, Essential as well, they ignored the proper fans to appease these fans, and now they get what they deserve. No show, no jobs, no future, no money, no career. And Raymond Williams, yeah, you're right. Raymond Williams is with us. They see Eurovision and Doctor Who as LGBTQ plus promoters. That's the only connection I can see. And Doctor Who fan 001. No cancellation, no pausing. We need a new showrunner and a new doctor and filming next year, or I will not pay my TV license. You're not getting anything filming next year.
No.
According to that, stay with us, Doctor Who fan 001. It's nice to see you. So far, there's nothing scheduled for next year at all. We would know if there was, like we illustrated before. So far, there isn't, unless it's going to be next, Paul, end of next summer, autumn?
Yeah, possibly. They can manage that, just to imagine, yeah.
They might be able to get a Christmas special for next year in the can if they did it August next year. Although it's tight. Oh, that's really tight, actually. And what am I talking about?
Well, they did. I remember reading somewhere, they're not. Twice Upon a Time was a last-minute piece, wasn't it? And they managed to cram that in.
Yeah. P. Ferreira is saying to us, guys, I'm really waiting for a book explaining why entire New Who ended up coming out the mess it did. I'm sure there'd be people who want to make some money. Because I'll buy every single one. I'm telling you that now for research purposes. Really would. And they'd all be on this show if they would come on.
We've never had a Doctor Who Babylon book, have we, really? That's what we need. Yeah.
No. Well, we didn't need one before, did we?
No.
You know? Mr. Mattison says, I really do understand why Ncuti decided not to turn up for a fat check for easy money. All planes, helicopters and cars have gone down since the recent, oh wait, they've not. Okay. Kevin Taylor, hello to you. On BBC iPlayer, it is in UHD, but I don't know if that's 2K or 4K. I don't know.
Surely it would be 4.
Well, what's the point if you haven't got a television that plays it?
Well, yeah, you've got to have a 4K television and then, yeah.
Let's have a look then. So we'll carry on. Thanks for everybody joining us in the chat. So yes, this is, of course, the moment I haven't been looking forward to at all. This is Juno Dawson's episode. It's going to be broadcasting tomorrow on the BBC and dropping on iPlayer tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Now, Doctor Who magazine, the recent edition of Doctor Who magazine, did cover this. Let's have a look at this. It's Eurovision in space, it claimed. Doctor Who is really putting on a show for this episode with a mega stadium-sized venue, an exotic audience of thousands from across the galaxy, and brand new songs as good as anything you'll hear from Basil this year, I think that is. They've even got Ryland Clark hosting the gig. Yes, that's the real Ryland, still working in space year 2925. What a pro. So how does the Doctor Who version compare to the real thing? Honestly, says Ryland, it's extremely similar. I was shocked stepping out onto the Interstellar stage, how much it felt like Eurovision, and even having aliens in the audience. Some of the Eurovision fans' outfits are quite outlandish, so that didn't throw me at all. I felt like I was 100% at home. I'm a massive fan of Doctor Who. It's one of my childhood favourites, and I love it now as an adult. If I had to choose all of my favourite things to amalgamate in a Doctor Who episode, It's this exact episode. It's got the song contest, space, aliens, everything. Ben A. Williams is directing, and he's a newcomer to Doctor Who, though he has directed science fiction series The War of the Worlds and Humans, as well as dramas such as Sherwood and 6-4. So what tempted him to this literally all singing, all dancing story? There it is, everybody. Literally all singing, all dancing story. Yeah. I've known Vicky Dello, series producer, he said, for years. And she kindly asked me a couple of times to do an episode, but I've always been quite busy. This time it was a combination of me being free and this being genuinely the best script I've read all year. I was sad when I got to the end of it because it meant I could never read it again for the first time. There are so many surprises in it. The twists are fantastic. Vicky herself says this is an unusually complicated episode because the production team have essentially had to make 2 very different television programs in parallel. We're making our TV show plus a live entertainment show as well, she explained. That was quite unusual for us, and we have to approach all the scenes in different ways. It's like there's 2 different shows in one. Are you excited yet, everybody, for this?
No.
Obviously, no.
No.
Well, if you don't know,
Anyway.
no, you're not watching. I'm not watching it either, Bedweir, tomorrow. But yeah, if you don't
I'm
know,
definitely not watching it twicey. I'm just saying that now. Okay.
You say that now, mate. You say that now. We'll see.
I don't want to watch
We'll
it
see.
once. That's the part of the problem. So
yeah. This is who's involved in it tomorrow. The guest stars in tomorrow's episode include Graham Norton, who you may know if you're in America or Canada. He's on the right there. And that's Rylan Clark on the left. Now, Rylan Clark, for those of you who weren't with us on a previous show where we introduced him to it, is a reality television host here in the UK. Yeah.
He's a love child of Barry Gibb and Mr. Ed, isn't he?
The other guest star in this is Freddie Fox, who, predictably, is playing the bad guy. Contrast this to the song in the engine.
Yes.
Can you
What a
tell what it is? Yeah, exactly. All right, so lots going on here. We're going to start now. We're looking in the TV listings, everybody, so stand by your beds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the TV listings magazines this week, covered the Interstellar Song Contest. I'm actually going straight this week to the Radio Times because we looked at a bit of that on Wednesday's show. This was the Radio Times article here. I have hidden myself in this episode of Doctor Who. At one point, the Doctor's companion, Belinda, says Eurovision is the best night of the year. When I was little, I was allowed to stay up late for the voting as long as I got into my pajamas and brushed my teeth. And actually, that was me. I remember kneeling in front of the television waiting to see if Sonia or Michael Ball would take the trophy. Both came second. I was gutted. There might not be an obvious link between the Eurovision Song Contest and Doctor Who, but I think they're cousins, if not sisters. Of course, they're both globally successful brands with a passionate and dedicated audience. But more than that, fans of Doctor Who and Eurovision can sometimes feel like outsiders, and that becomes part of someone's identity. One becomes a Whovian or a Euro fan. At school, I was very much the weird kid who was obsessed with Doctor Who and Eurovision, as well as the Spice Girls. Professing my love of these things was my way of saying I was queer before I knew what it was to be queer. Perhaps it's not surprising they're so beloved by LGBTQ++ people. Both shows occasionally address queer themes. Last year's Eurovision winner, Nemo, was the first alleged non-binary performer. Big news. No, she's not. But more generally, the DNA of Doctor Who and Eurovision is fairness, tolerance, peace, and the triumph of joy over hatred. It's not hard to see why queer people feel so even seen in so safe words. Now, I'm going to stop that nonsense at that particular point because look how hypocritical that is. You know, look at it again, everybody. Eurovision is fairness, it's tolerance, it's peace, it's the triumph of joy over hatred.
Is it really? Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah.
After last year, please.
We didn't even get tolerance going through the ratings in this.
No.
Indeed.
No.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
If there's one thing they're consistent at, it's the hypocrisy. And as long as they're happy calling everybody else what they are and transfer it. I think in psychoanalysis it's called transfer, isn't it? When you transfer what you are onto somebody else to make you feel good.
Yeah.
Well, it's happening all the time here, isn't it? It really is. But that's the article from him. Juno Dawson. It goes into this as well. When I was asked to write this episode, I was determined that my Interstellar Song Contest wouldn't make fun of Eurovision by having aliens dancing around in tinfoil dresses. Why would the show devolve in the far future? If anything, I thought it would continue to become even grander. With huge ambition, the fictional Harmony Arena is the O2 Arena in space on steroids. I'm so proud of how the effects team rendered the stadium both physically and digitally. It looks very real and very, very big. RTD and I wrote some lyrics, and series composer Murray Gold was tasked with coming up with contemporary sounding Eurovision music. God. Although he composed 4 original tracks for the episode, 3 entries, and 1 song that comes as a surprise at the end, Gold's music adds further breadth. But viewers shouldn't go into this episode thinking it's all high camp and glitter. When a dangerous hijacker attacks the contest, the Doctor unleashes a sort of rage we haven't seen in a long time, while Belinda faces up to the fact she might never see her family for Eurovision or on Earth ever again. Meanwhile, bickering fans Gary and Mike, played by Charlie Kondo and Kadif Kawan, are on the verge of divorce until catastrophe reminds them of what really matters. Oh God, this sounds so nauseatingly exciting.
Yeah.
And what about the divalicious Cora, played by Miriam Teak Lee, the wannabe winner from the planet Tryon? What is she hiding? Yes, I said Tryon. What is she hiding? With this episode, I wanted to tell a human story, because that's how you win Eurovision. The best contests have plucky heroes like Conchita Wurst in 2014, who overcame homophobic rhetoric from certain nations, or an underdog like Karija, who raced past the hot favourites at the last second in 2023. It's always about the act and the song, truly. It isn't, though, is it, dear? You've just proved that today. While not immune from current affairs, Eurovision isn't nearly as political as people think. In the last few years, Switzerland, Sweden, the Netherlands and Italy have won on the strength of their songs alone. No gimmicks, no dodgy votes. I'm afraid other nations are simply better at Eurovision than we are. A tough pill to swallow, but here we are. We got so close with Sam Ryder, he came second in 2022. We can and will win if we send the right act with the right song. Doctor Who and Eurovision have meant so much to me my whole life. Truly, if I could time travel, I'd tell my teenage self that one day I'd be combining them for the BBC. He'd think I was a liar. They're 2 of my greatest pop culture loves. What an absolute gift to be able to bring them together. And then here it is. Juno Dawson is an award-winning author of young adult fiction, doesn't tell you what though, and Doctor Who's first openly transgender writer. Now it's on that point, of course, that I am absolutely stunned and amazed by the fact that this rhetoric hasn't been pushed anywhere else as much as I was expecting it to. I wonder why.
There's a thing in the article there that stood out for me is the fact that we so need another human story in Doctor Who, don't we? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't sound that good to me, really.
More relationship trauma. It's exactly what we need. More relationship trauma and divorce and reconciliation and all that. And the Doctor unleashing rage against another white baddie, you know.
From characters we'll only know for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And have no attachment to whatsoever. Yeah.
Lots of you commenting. Thank you so much. Gary saying, I've never seen Eurovision. Well, there you go. That's amazing, quite frankly. But good for you. And Jack, how does this level of writing make it to live television? The whole thing about this as well, with a divorce couple, another divorce couple. Now that smacks of something you guys were telling me about, one of the Jodie Whittaker things where the fella was having a baby.
Yeah.
That's just another why. And obviously they're going to come together because suddenly the nonsense at the contest shows them that life is more. It won't last 20 minutes when they leave the country, I tell you.
What was also interesting was the reference he made to about we're not going to make it like tinfoil monsters. But have you seen some of the costumes, some of the monsters? Really?
Have you seen what Dawson, what he was wearing in that promotional photo of him with the big pointy shoulders? He looked like one of the aliens from classic Star Trek. He looked bizarre.
He could have been in Dynasty quite easily, to be honest. Yeah,
could have been. Yeah, quite easily.
This story will date horribly, says Digby. Well, all of it is, isn't it? I mean, I was saying before it was even screened. It's dating. It's going to be dated because it was all done a couple of years ago. But I am very, very interested in how Juno Dawson hasn't been pushed more since things have moved on in the UK. Because I reckon, personally, Who viewers, there must have been this big plan to say, oh, we've got a transgender woman writing for the show, and things have moved on in the UK, you know, and I think that's been toned down because nobody else reports on this at all.
I will be interested to see how he's represented on the Unleashed program, because normally the writers get that time on that. So we'll see, you know.
Well, you're going to be watching that, but that's for fans, isn't it? You know, that is fans.
But still, if it's any promotion at all, it'll be interesting, you know.
Yeah. So you can tell us that on Sunday show, can't you?
Yeah.
You know what's it actually called? Gary Lee is saying to us, the Doctor unleashing rage. Does that mean more tears again? Yeah, probably.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
And Philip is saying, who cares what they are? Who is writing what? What is writing who? I would say. I dread to think what the surprise song at the end is. Shudder.
There's always a twist at the end comes back. No doubt. Yeah, that'll be it. Yeah.
And he did warn there was more musical to come, didn't he? It sounds like another episode that will feature one enormous set rather than any visual diversity of locations. It'll feel like a one-act play again, says Babette Bombshell. Very probably. But you can tell us all about it on Sunday, live here on the channel at 8 o'clock, when the guys are here to tell me, and you're all coming in to tell me about this episode, because I'm not watching it. The reason I'm not watching it is I just cannot justify watching an episode written by a known homophobe, which is conveniently glossed over by the showrunner of the series.
Naturally.
Yeah,
absolutely. Let's move on to the next one then, because this is from the TV Times. Again, it's number 3 in this week's top TV for the TV Times. Everybody,
see, look at that costume. You know that's fairly tinfoily, isn't it? You know.
Yeah. I think it was Juliana that mentioned all these costumes, wasn't it?
Is that supposed to be the same alien that we saw in Dalek Master Plan?
It looks a bit like it, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yes, so we're dredging aliens back from bit parts, incidental characters now from Hartnell's era.
What did I mention there? Tryon?
Yeah, Tryon as well. Yeah.
There's Turlo in the background screaming and cheering.
Maybe there'd be tractators there or something as well. You know, they might be singing a song with an antenna got them down like that.
Could this be the Doctor Who version of those scenes that George Lucas put in the first 3 Star Wars films? You know, I'm talking the Phantom Menace loss. You know, with the what do you call it? The Supreme Senate.
It looks a bit like that. Yes, that kind of same kind of setup. Yeah.
Could it be that? Well, the other reason that I'm talking about this is about that one I mentioned is just remember the plot here. We sort of highlighted this on Wednesday, didn't we? But for me, this is too near the knuckle. A concert going on, a nasty person trying to do something at the concert. It's a little bit Ariana Grande incident for me. But anyway, I could be proved wrong. You guys are going to have to tell me. We've got this from the TV Times. It goes on to this, Out of This World. This is a small box out, which was on the page for the Eurovision, which was a double page. It was a teeny weeny bit on the box out. Okay. Not going to read it out because guess what? It says everything else that we've been talking about. This one is from What's on TV. Again, Doctor Who makes its What's Hot on TV this week. There it is there. You can see the box out there for you. It's not selling it much, though, is it? No. And I have to say, Freddie looks bloody awful.
Yeah. His antenna looks absolute crap, doesn't it? He doesn't look alien at all. And he's got a mullet, for God's sake. I mean, how imaginative is that? You know,
bear in mind, this is the most expensive Doctor Who episode ever when you watch it, everybody.
So what have they spent it on, you think? I wonder.
I don't know, but it's certainly not his antennae. We've got this from What's on TV as well. This is not a double page spread. This is another teeny weeny box out. Fans of Eurovision can get in the mood early on Saturday as Doctor Who offers up a sci-fi spin on the long-running contest. While Ncuti Gatwa, aka the Doctor, will be appearing live as the real thing later in the evening to reveal which country gets 12 points.
Oh, no, he isn't.
This week's episode turns a fictional Eurovision into an action thriller. That's what they're calling it, an action thriller, as the Doctor and Belinda drop in on the 803rd edition of the galaxy-wide music contest, full of weird and wonderful singers. Guest star Rylan Clark is playing himself as the event's host. It's probably the most twisty episode of the whole season, says Rylan. Also from working on Eurovision.
How would he know?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Maybe it was at the read-throughs. Also, from working on Eurovision itself, the attention to detail was absolutely amazing. The adventure also has a cameo from Graham Norton and stars Freddie Fox as the horned character Kid. The contest is thrown into chaos when an attack takes place during the broadcast, leaving the Doctor, Belinda, and thousands of pop fans across the universe fighting to survive. Kid is a charismatic, devious, revolutionary leader, says Freddie. Here we go. His group are just trying to get justice for wrongs that he wants to tell the universe about. Audiences can expect to see the most audacious interpretation of Eurovision ever, even bigger than Eurovision itself. I was so delighted. It's camp, camp, camp. Smacks of season 17 again to me, everybody, but there we are.
Oh, you can't compare this to season 17. You really can't. Yeah.
Well, I can when they say camp, 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 because that was Hunter Nymon, anyone? Please, that was camp.
Come on. Hunter Nymon's like a Shakespearean tragedy compared to this crap, isn't it?
Well, you haven't seen it yet. Come back with me on that one.
Of it, and I can make a judgment on some of the clips, honestly, I'm telling you. It was bloody awful.
And it hasn't got Janet Ellis in it. Come on.
Exactly.
Lesser. But yeah.
Or Graham Crowder, even, for God's sake. Yeah.
Sure. My dreams of conquest.
The point is, Freddie is saying this is camp, 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 which is not what Doctor Who should be. And like it or not, that particular season 17 was very off-putting in Doctor Who for me. As a person, I did not like it, although I can now look at it from the age I'm at now and enjoy it. But at the time, as a 9-year-old, I was going, So that was that.
Can I be honest? I'm really concerned about the content of this episode.
Yeah,
because this idea that you've got this guy played by Freddie Fox, who is a leader of some protest group or whatever, making a big statement, in a live broadcast to millions, billions, whatever of people. We're in an era now where you do have live events that are threatened by this kind of action, whether it's Just Stop Oil throwing orange paint over a snooker table or whatever like that. I don't think this is the kind of content and story that really should be made light of in a Doctor Who. We've had Taylor Swift concerts being cancelled in Vienna. There was a foiled plot for a Lady Gaga gig that was came out recently. These are real issues and real dangers that people attending live events have to be aware of, and security services are having to work harder than ever to kind of stop this sort of stuff. And I think putting that kind of thing into a Doctor Who episode really trivializes it. And JT, you mentioned Ariana Grande in Manchester. God, it's really distasteful, in my opinion, to kind of, as I say, almost, make light of these sorts of things and these possibilities, which are so real right now, and putting it in outer space and all that nonsense. And like, we're telling a story. I'm like, but come on, you talk about decency and tastefulness and things like that when, it's really not for me.
It does make me think, as I mentioned on Wednesday's show, that they may have been inspired by events. And I think for someone like Doctor Who, I agree with you, Bedway. I don't think that's right.
It doesn't need to. That's not a story we need to be telling.
No, it's not.
And it makes you wonder why in this environment, with all the things that you've referenced there, Bedway, validly, why would that be the immediate place that Juno Dawson lets his mind go to? What is it that makes these people think that is good subject material, that this is a good way to go, that this is a positive thing to do? It's not. It's horrible. But again, it typifies that kind of person, I suppose. But it is absolutely horrible. It could potentially hurt and traumatize an awful lot of people. They just do not give a damn. Shocking.
Well, they don't care anymore, do they? I mean,
no.
I do feel because they did it all back to back, and realized what the reaction was when it came to the second one. They went, "Nah, that's just me." That's because there's been no energy when it comes to promoting this.
When you consider,
haven't they?
Sorry,
in terms of they've all been. Oh, this is going to be the most expensive episode ever. It's going to be incredible. There's plot twists and turns, and you need to watch it as soon as it's available on the iPlayer and all this sort of stuff. You know, like but the content of your episode, and God forbid something happens during Eurovision tomorrow night, because it only takes one nutcase to jump on a stage, you know, with a flag, or what, you know, whatever, trying to make a statement, and Doctor Who's trivialized that an hour before. You know, it's a really
dangerous ground, isn't it? That's the thing.
Yes, it is, Paul. It absolutely is. I mean, again, it's where Doctor Who should be science fiction.
Yeah.
And there's too much modern day agenda in it, isn't there?
It's like when the Christmas one they did the pandemic issues that they covered in that. That was awful, you know. And that was we don't want to see that at Christmas Day, do you? You know, it's like
you cast your mind back though to 1996 and the McGann film, and they cut out a whole section which made it jar a little bit, but they cut it out anyway because there'd been the Dunblane massacre.
Yeah.
You know, and all it was firing a machine gun, and you know, they cut it out completely, and it did make the storyline jump, but they did it anyway because they saw that as decency. But now trivializing the stuff that we've been talking about is horrendous. It shows you how far the standards have sunk, I think, in intervening years.
Well, even more recently, they did that in Robots of Sherwood as well. Wasn't there a character who's going to be beheaded, the character of the sheriff in it, and
of course,
something happened in real life. So it's like, you can see how far it's gone, and they're not thinking at all about any consequences whatsoever. It's really scary.
No.
You know?
Well, congratulations on remembering Robot of Sherwood. Well done.
Yeah,
I watched that more than once.
Hats off for that one.
I watched it once and thought it was
maybe thrice.
Awful. Yeah. Richard Brooks is saying, how many actual women have written for Doctor Who? Good question.
One in classic, was two in classic, yeah. So
Barbara.
Yeah, and Rona.
Jane Baker.
Rona.
Jane Baker.
Rona Munro.
Rona Munro.
We've had a few since then. Helen Rayner, Jacqueline Rayner, Mallory Blackman for Jodie.
Yeah.
Handful.
Didn't a female allegedly write Attack of the Cybermen?
Allegedly.
Allegedly. That was a mess, wasn't it?
Yeah. I would say there's possibly more in the original series than there has been in this new version.
Joy Wilkinson.
We'll have to look at facts on that one, but there you go. But I know what you're saying there, Richard. Yeah, again, it's the hypocrisy, isn't it? We've had one this season, and that was what's the name? The other one that did the well. So there you go. Yeah, I know what you're saying though. Duncan the Funky Evans is saying, I actually expected more publicity for this one. I did as well. I was actually shocked because I thought it's all going to be about Dawson and promoting Dawson. But that's what I'm saying here. I think it's because reading between the lines, things have changed in the UK, and I reckon all that was scaled back because on the press release there is a substantial interview with him, which has obviously been taken into the TV listens magazines. Just Jordan is saying to us, there's no escapism in this, there's no entertainment. Just Jordan, it'd be interesting to see if you're watching it, what your viewpoint is. Everybody, your viewpoint. Make sure you're all coming back on Sunday for our live review at 8:00. And Marie UK is saying this is one big ego trip for people who don't really care about anyone else but themselves. Well said. Well said.
I'm actually surprised because of the Supreme Court judgment they're not kicking off and promoting it more, to be honest, you know.
Well, yeah. I mean, the BBC is full of people, isn't it, that are denying what it's saying. The industry is as well. This is the Eurovision. They'll be livid with what's going on in Eurovision, as I'm sure Gatman must be saying, you can't wave those flags anymore, like they did last year, as I showed you on the pictures.
Yeah.
Oh, Mike C32001, you might think that, but we can't possibly comment. There is another one as well. This is Total TV Guide. First time in a long time, and the only one to give Doctor Who the cover. Doctor Who does Eurovision. As you can see, we've got that picture from Ncuti Gatwa from last year's season.
Is Graham Norton the new Doctor? Is he?
That's it. Worlds collide on an epic Saturday night, says Total TV Guide, in their best way to try and push this thing. Is it going to be enough? I don't think so. Inside Total TV Guide, you get this. I'm up in space, man. Yeah, ha, ha, ha. And that is a page and a bit, as you can see. The article is this one. And look who wrote it, everybody. It's Tom Spilsbury of Doctor Who magazine fame.
Oh, wow.
It's pretty hard to upstage Eurovision itself, but Doctor Who is giving it a good go. In this week's 6th episode, the Interstellar Song Contest, the Doctor and Belinda arrive on a space station where the most spectacular singing competition ever staged is about to begin. But hang on, even though we're in the distant future, isn't that Rylan? And then he goes on to say a bit more, Rylan, here. It's from the standard press release I just mentioned. I'm playing myself, but I've also added a bit of Caesar from the Hunger Games for good measure, grins Rylan. For it really is the ebullient TV presenter making a guest appearance. I wasn't nervous, but now I've hosted the Interstellar Song Contest, surely Eurovision will come knocking. As an unashamed devotee of both Eurovision and Doctor Who, Rylan was thrilled to merge two of his passions. Having worked on the actual Eurovision, there were too many similarities, says the former X Factor contestant. The attention to detail in this episode was amazing. I've always been a massive Whovian. I bumped into RTD at the Attitude Awards a few years ago, and we stayed in touch. Yes, you see, nepotism and networking is part of that. But the Attitude Awards,
just nepotism,
RTD, yeah, RTD kicked off for that one, didn't he? And that's
he had his vile outpouring, didn't he?
Yeah, and that's where I thought, oh, hang on a minute, he's angry. And this is going to be into Doctor Who. And I was right. It carries on here. And we stayed in touch. I joked about wanting to be in Doctor Who, and he joked that I absolutely should be. So when I opened my emails one day to see a full script and a really full part, I'm not going to lie, I started crying. It was unreal. I was delighted.
Oh, babes.
We'll be crying. We'll be crying tomorrow, Paul, won't we?
Oh, yes, yeah.
Especially on your fifth viewing.
Given the setup, you might think that this particular episode will be a frothy, inconsequential one. If so, think again. Not that Rylan is giving much away. Expect the unexpected is all he'll say. It's probably the most twisty episode of the whole season. It's out of this world, literally. However, we're able to extract a little more info from actor Freddie Fox, who is playing an alien. His character, Kid, targets the Interstellar Song Contest to make a political point. Kid is the charismatic, devious, revolutionary leader of a group, explains Freddie. They are trying to get justice for wrongs that he wants to tell the galaxy about. I worked hard on making Kid as specific as I could. He's such a well-written character. There's one particular moment where I just get to be so damn showy too. My character gets to be super naughty. I was thinking, oh yeah, this is very cool. Freddie, who previously worked with RTD on the 2015 Channel 4 drama Cucumber, tells us that this episode is the most thrilling of the series thus far. It's the most audacious interpretation of Eurovision ever conceived, even bigger than Eurovision itself, he chuckles. I was so delighted that I thought, this is camp. How does RTD even think of it, let alone make it so brilliant? It's going to blow the audience's minds.
Do you think Freddie watched the other 5 episodes, you think?
I don't think he's watched it for years, quite frankly.
I mean, his character, Kid, has gone completely the wrong way about this. He just needs to become a writer and get to know Russell T Davies.
Exactly, yeah.
If he wants to make a political point and have it seen by not very many people, but, you know.
1.5 million, I believe, yes.
Well, yeah, let's see what happens with the ratings tomorrow, if it is indeed shown on BBC One. But yeah, I mean, that's the latest from the TV Guide magazine here in the UK promoting tomorrow's alleged Doctor Who episode. Not very exciting at all, is it? But then nothing has been, and it hasn't worked. You know, the public are buying these things and obviously not looking at it and not caring. And sad times.
Very.
You know, there we go. Oh my goodness! Listen, thanks for everybody that's been on the chat with us tonight. Really good to see you all. Pete Carrington is saying to you, the scores on the doors, 0-point. 0-point. And just bearing in mind, everybody, that when you watch this, if you are watching it tomorrow, they haven't told you what organization Kid, played by Freddie, is representing. Come and tell me what that is on Sunday, because I think I might know. I think it's going to be something to do with something rights and something like that, you know, but on a bigger international scale. So come and let me know, because that's it. We will be back on Sunday, where the third Doctor, Paul, and the rest of the Whotastic panel will be telling me what I haven't missed. Bedouia, I hope you're going to join in on the chat and come and tell us about what they think. Break for me, hard work for the rest of you, but make sure you come and join us 8 o'clock on the channel here. Listen to third Doctor Ian and Paul, and of course to Bedouia. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Joining me.
Thank you very much.
As usual, thank you so much for your ratings analysis.
No problem at all. I really hope that the FA Cup final is not boring and tedious, and I have the misfortune of falling asleep and waking up in the middle of Doctor Who.
God help you if that happens.
Here's to extra time and penalties.
There you go, everybody. It's great to see you all, as I say, everybody in the chat. Thank you so much to everybody that has joined us. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're enjoying this series of Doctor Who, good for you. But please come and tell us why on our review show on Sunday night at 8. If you have already subscribed to the channel, make sure you still subscribe to the channel. And if you are new, please do subscribe to the channel. We have a lot of fun when this thing isn't on the air. Sometimes we're having a bit of fun when it's on as well, actually. So thank you very much. Great to see you all. It really is appreciated. But from the guys and from myself, we'll be back on Sunday. It's all up there for the channel for you. Come and watch out. We've got Facebook. We've got our Instagram pages as well. You can keep in touch with us there. whosviews1@gmail.com is where you want to email if you want to send me anything at all, or just have a chat. I will get back to you eventually. Until we see you on Sunday with the Interstellar Song Contest, written by well-known homophobe Juno Dawson. Ta-ra. Have a good Saturday. See you, everybody.
See you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.